Blood on the wheel, blood on the sea, blood on the hands of all the ones that lie. Storms are coming, best to get to running, or stand your ground once the bullets fly. They call me Big Papa 'cause I'm ready to die. When you meet your maker, you can ask him why. They call me Big Papa 'cause I'm ready to die.
They just let them do it. They just let them fucking gas us. They didn't stop them. They didn't stop them. They didn't give a fuck. Seriously, guys?
They'll kill your mama. They'll kill your daughter. They'll kill your wife and your auntie and your sister too. Nah, they don't care none. Badges, they don't wear none. But soon enough, we'll all be shooting back at you. Really ain't a fucking thing you can do. We got way more guns, we got way more goons. If we stand our ground when the bullets fly, they call me Big Papa 'cause I'm ready to die. When you meet your maker, you can ask him why. They call me Big Papa 'cause I'm ready to die. They call me Big Papa 'cause I'm ready to die. They call me Big Papa 'cause I'm ready to die.
You better get fucking ready. You better wake up. If you think this shit's fucking just some social media shit, you ain't paying attention. 3 things are true. Number 1, the black community told us this shit for years. We didn't listen. Number 2, ICE is a white supremacist wet dream. And number 3, the government's not going to save you.
All right, everybody, how we doing? Checking into the stream Saturday, August 9th, 2026. How are we doing, everybody? How are we doing? I wasn't going to do a news stream today because I'm still trying to like fully recover and get back into the daily. We had a good week this week, but you know, my schedule and looking at everything that's going on, we got the primary on Tuesday in Minnesota, big Minnesota primary coming up. Hopefully you guys are going out for Peggy Flanagan and beyond. Check into the stream though, you guys. Hello, what up, Soda River? Hello, Heather. Hello, Trying Abyss. Hello, you guys. Check into the stream. What do you hate on Jolly Ginger for? No reason to hate Jolly Good Ginger. I misspelled Sunday. Oh, it's Sunday. Whatever day it is. I don't care. It's a weekend day. The days don't matter to me. Like time is a conflux. You know what I mean? Like it truly just does not mean much to me. I don't know. Like we get weekends, but I mean when I'm doing what I do and I do it every single day. Some days I guess I take off or whatever, you know. Some days I guess I don't stream, but most days, like, you know, I just keep doing it every single day. So days don't really mean much, like the regular Monday through Friday, I guess. I mean, I know I play softball on Mondays, but now at this point, I mean, what is even, I mean, I feel like everyone, like, do people get weekends off? Like the full weekend? I don't know if that's a thing much anymore. I know most of my friends work on the weekends and we're in our 30s now. So, I mean, my dad even had to work on weekends, or he'd choose to. But I don't know. What is even a weekend? You look like a softball player. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Are you attempting to try to hate in the chat? Are you trying? That's cute. Left-wing propaganda. Oh, we got the trolls today. There's only 286 viewers, guys. Hit the like button. Let's get the stream up. Let's get some more of our community in here. Looks like the Chud trolls found the YouTube stream. If you guys want to break from all that, though, I can't ban the entire YouTube platform. It's mostly right wing though. If you guys haven't noticed, if you guys like YouTube, I appreciate that. But we can't, we can't realistically just ban everyone. Plus my YouTube channel is what carries me through, like paying bills and stuff. So if you guys want another option, their Twitch channel is doing great. We got 31 people over there. Hello, Skip Fu. Hello, Twig. Hello, Primeval. We got mods over there and everything. Like Mod Carl Feathers over there. We got Acadian Toast. I see you. We got Ken Schultz over there. But YouTube is, when it comes to live chats, definitely more right wing or like troll. I don't know how YouTube can fix that. Whether you make everybody have a a Google account with a level of verification to it, or what. But yeah, it's a massive bot and troll problem. I mean, Twitch has it too. Not every platform does at this point. But yeah, what up? Skull Minnesota is back in the chat. Says supports self-admitted sexual predators. Wow, you're so tough, so tough. Remember when we played RuneScape with Skull Minnesota? Such a tough guy, such a tough guy. It's crazy because you guys support people like Royce White dressing up as a woman and pretending. Well, he's literally a serial abuser and was given a 50-year order of protection. It's like, I don't care about burning bridges anymore, people, because I've spent so much time of like my personal life, to people and like giving my attention to people that don't deserve it. And then later on in life, they just like can come at me sideways. I'm like getting at that point where, like, cause growing up in my 20s and even before that, if I had like a personal connection with somebody, that means a lot to me, at least. And like that carries through. And so when I have positive interactions with people, and I've only ever been like a positive, I haven't brought bad upon the other person, personally, like whenever I'm engaging with another person, it's usually lighthearted or positive. I'm like how I talk on this stream when I'm criticizing the elite and I'm criticizing politicians, or like what I'm going to say about J.K. Rowling. I mean, when it comes to regular people I engage with, I don't act like that because there's no need to. Like, I'm not engaging with people that are elite status. It's just like people that are like me. And so in my day-to-day interactions with normal people, I don't even talk about politics. I don't feel like it. Like when I'm at softball on Mondays, we don't talk about like one time. I was surprised one time. One of my teammates was like, dude, fucking Trump sucks, out of nowhere. And it was unexpected. I was like, fuck yeah, I'll be cooked now. But even then, though, at that point, I'm like, nah, because we're here to play softball. We're not here to really talk about politics or the news. And I like that, as I need spaces in which I don't do this. I need spaces. I need a break. And you guys should too. If you're like 100% fully invested, 100% into the news and to current events, that's also bad. You need a break. You need to do other things. You need other activities. You need other hobbies. You need to touch grass, all of it. You need to. You have to, or you're going to go crazy like these MAGAs are. Because these MAGAs are like this because their news media and their people, and then because then they take a break and hate watch me. But even then, they're not taking a break, right? They're watching their media 24 hours a day, and then they come over to hate watch me and troll me, but I'm still doing news and current events. So it's like a sickness. Okay, so you need to take a break if you like do this constantly. But anyway, so like in my personal life, it's crazy, like when I give my time to people, right? And like I feel like that's a big thing. Like when you give your time to someone, like truly, when I'm interviewing people and I'm like, thank you for your time, I mean it, because that person gave me their time and we had a positive interaction, which is rare. But in my personal life, so many people, because I developed a social media platform and I'm not an industry plant, right? So it's not like I grew up in rich community and then now because like I know social media managers and shit, now like I had to grow it from nothing back in 2020. And regular people follow me. Like, again, I'm not industry connected at all. I'm not connected to any type of elite anything. No money coming in from nobody up there. They don't even know who the fuck I am, really, except for like when they learn. So anyway, so when I give my time to people and people that have known me from my past or whatever, And then now, because I'm speaking out against issues, they feel they can talk to me fucking sideways, or as if like they once knew me. And again, me and that person have had positive interactions like that, like Skull, Minnesota. It's so sad because I've took time, and he gifted me shit on, and it like that does kind of bother me, because it's like, because I am taking a stand when it comes to a non-existent issue about men and women's sports. And then when we have actors like J.K. Rowling, which we'll get to, quote tweeting me, defending Royce White, and then the very people that I've given my time to, is it my problem? Do I need to be more careful of who I give my time to? It's so hard to tell these days, because Royce White is an absolute subhuman piece of garbage. Like, the fact that he's able to even like have a public platform in this society is disgusting. And the things he advocates for and who he is as a person. 50-year order of protection against his ex-wife because of his abuse towards her. And you got and you want to call me a loser? You got the people that support Royce White and these narratives, like, you need to be marched to a fucking camp. I'm dead serious. I am so serious about that. And then, or put into asylums. You people are irredeemable. Irredeemable at this point. This is sickening, because this is the point of where it's gotten to where we're going to make our delusion so real and our trans hatred to the point where we're putting men in the women's sports, which we're supposed to be against. And not only that, but we're rallying around men that abuse women. The very problem that you think exists in the trans community, by the way, the very thing that these people believe about men becoming women so that way they can abuse women and get into the bathrooms and shit. You fucking support that, because that's what Royce White is. The fuck out of you. You think you're doing some 4D hypnosis, osmosis chess because you're gonna have Royce White dress up as a woman and claim to be a woman? And no, you're really just fucking your own argument. You're really just screwing your own argument, especially by rallying around someone like Royce White. You're doing more to destroy the anti-trans community, that whatever the fuck, that rallies behind losers like J.K. Rowling. You guys are doing more to damage your own message than anything, especially by rallying behind Royce White. Please keep doing that. Because then when people look into him, they're like, who is this Royce White? Oh, he's literally a serial abuser. He is the very thing that these anti-trans losers are afraid of when it comes to trans athletes competing. And he's doing it, and they're like, let's fucking go. Hell yeah. But yeah, Royce, he's doing this for us. Go fuck yourselves. Like, and then, oh wow, on the last tweet, she doesn't tweet anything else. Whatever the maximalist trans hate she can do for the day, it looks like. One tweet a day. Wow. One tweet a day, and it's anti-trans. Imagine literally, like, again, shout out to our trans homies and our trans community, but it's like, it's an obsession. It truly is. This is an obsession. So you guys know J.K. Rowling, she wrote the Harry Potter books, which I read as a kid. My parents forced me to. Like, I enjoyed them after a bit, but like, I had to read Harry Potter because I was, acting out, and then my parents were like, you have to go read. So there was like a forced reading at first, and then I kept reading them. But it's wild, I'm 33 years old, and as a kid, I'm reading this woman's books, and now here she is, quote tweeting me, which I'm right, by the way. Nothing I'm saying is wrong. Like, there is wrong opinions and there's right opinions, and my opinion is right. Okay, let's get that fact straight. A lot of people make this like, there's some people that are arguing, well, J.K. Rowling has the right to an opinion. Yeah, she has the right to be wrong too, and she is fucking wrong in this case. So J.K. Rowling quote tweeted my post that I read the other day about men inventing a problem, then making it real, right? Which is what the right wing does in general. They invent a problem and then make that a problem, which Israel does too. It's very Israel coded. There are no men playing in the WNBA, yet Enes Kanter and now Royce White are announcing plans to enter the 2027 draft as actors in a broader anti-trans narrative that falsely portrays women's sports as being overrun by men. Kanter averaged 11.2 points and 7.8 rebounds across 748 NBA games, but never became an all-star. Royce White played 9 minutes and then never scored anything, didn't do shit. He sucked. He did nothing. Enos Kanter also was bad. He was known as the Cone. He got the nickname being a cone. Because, you know, in basketball, you got to do cone drills. So you got nicknamed a cone because that's all he was good at, was just kind of standing there. Royce White is going to lose his campaign, so this is a political stunt. Neither man identifies as trans nor sincerely identifies as a woman. This is a calculated dog whistle aimed at mocking trans people and manufacturing outrage. They think they're playing 4D chess, but they're literally men attempting to force themselves into women's sports so they can pretend their invented threat was real while destroying all their principles in the process. Because, yeah, if you support this, you're a fucking clown. If you support Royce White and Enos Kanter, you're a clown. And really nothing more. But, like, you already knew you're a clown. I mean, even taking the position to support Royce White, you know you're a clown. Okay, it's already like established. Okay, especially now. So then J.K. Rowling, billionaire, turf, whatever, or no, whatever. However you say, she sucks. She's a loser. You say some men sincerely identify as women, but that these two men aren't sincere. Do sincere men injure fewer women and girls than the insincere ones? How do we test for sincerity? What if a sincerity jury is split? Very much looking forward to your answers. Okay, this is, again, insane asylum. Immediate admission forever. Okay, like, to even try to, like, litigate that. So my answer was this, easy. Is this good enough for you? Or do you want to keep playing these games? Her base didn't like it at first, though. Because all I need to put is, like, yeah, he's literally abuses women. So in the jury of our peers, doesn't matter, because this is the very threat that you say is the threat amongst the trans community of, like, men pretending to be women and then that abuse women and then invade their spaces to further abuse women, because that's exactly what Royce White's going to do. That's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to go in there and do the very thing that anti-trans people are afraid of, because that's what he is. Crazy. You're just strengthening the pro-trans argument. If anything, you're making more pro-trans people. I'm glad I'm contributing to that. Go fuck yourselves. I'm going to keep doing that too. I promise you. And, like, our message is way stronger, especially when you're rallying behind Royce White. Keep doing that. Hell yeah. Or irrelevant ass Enos Kanter. Oh my God. And he does, like, turkey propaganda. That won't last long. MAGA will be like, I don't understand that. I don't get it. I don't get it. They'll just, like, so they only have Royce White because Kanter is not really political, and Royce White's running as a MAGA senator in Minnesota. So there's nothing else I need to say. Abused his wife and teenage son. Can't contact him for 50 years. You know how hard it is to get, like, just 5-year order protection, let alone 50? So I don't know what the hell. And then it seems like other people, like, I woke up to this. I woke up and saw my X notifications were on turbo, and I'm like, oh God, what happened? What did I do? Who did I make mad today? Oh, but it was J.K. Rowling. Literally, I'm like, okay, I guess I gotta respond to J.K. fucking Rowling today. Because this is, and that's, look how pathetic she is too now. Just so pathetic that you're rallying behind Royce White. It's beyond, like, and then we'll get to the broader narrative too when it comes to this leftist. Like, if there are zero liberal influencers talking about this, because Royce White is running for office, he's a MAGA candidate, and all day long, which we're gonna get to, I'm seeing on the internet is, like, liberal establishment influencers fighting people to the left of them, all day, all fucking day, just doing it all day, just being fucking losers. Okay, when you on the right wing, they're running candidates that are, like, literally breaking their own principles, like literally dressing up as women, invading women's spaces while not even, like, well treating the identity as a joke to begin with. It's not like he's seriously identifying as a trans woman and he's taking testosterone blockers and hormone boosters and everything else. It's just like they're doing the thing that they believe trans people do by just, like, declaring that they're a man or a woman, and that's not how that works. Which, again, I really should not be speaking about issues that aren't related to me in terms of, like, an identity thing, because, you know, I don't identify as trans. So they'd have to listen to trans influencers or people that can speak about the experience, or, like, I should have people interviewed on this week for interviews. because it's an experience that I can't relate to personally, is people that have shared this experience and this problem that has existed in terms of the attacks on the trans community for like as long as I've been on the internet. As long as I've been on the internet, like it just doesn't stop. So it's crazy when you get down to the point of now defending an actual abuser who is Royce White, an actual woman abuser to protect women. But I mean, but it just kind of unfolds the entire right-wing narrative about protecting women anyways. They don't care about protecting women. The right wing does not care about protecting women at all. They want to destroy the trans narrative so they can get back to just shitting on women in general, and like about higher pay and higher opportunities, etc., etc., etc. And it's wild. J.K. Rowling is a clown in general because I believe, let me check this. J.K. Rowling, name, use, male. I believe she used her, yeah. She used her initials to appear to be a man when writing her book. I gotta find the reporting behind it. Well, behind writing Harry Potter, so that way she would appear more masculine to sell more copies. This is in Kiora. J.K. Rowling pretended to be a man using the name Robert Galbraith with a whole made-up backstory when she's... Okay, that's Kiora. I need like more sourcing behind this, but these are things I have heard. What's the motivation? Oh, here it is. It's literally Robert Galbraith. What's the motivation and inspiration behind the Cormoran Strike novels? Whatever. I don't care. So she can identify as a man, and it's just the entire right-wing narrative is a fucking fake. All of it. Do I need to continue with how to just destroy right-wing narratives like in general? So you are a radical anti-trans feminist who literally wrote her initials, like that's why J.K. Rowling exists, because it would appear that she's not a woman, so that way she could sell more books. And then she's literally done an alter ego as a man to do the same thing. What are we doing? And now you have Royce White, who is treating it as a joke, and he's not being serious about becoming a woman whatsoever. He was on Fox News. And then he's also a serial abuser, invading women's sports. I think I need to look it up on X here. It's literally like their delusions they make into a reality. Or they are the very thing that they are against. Here he was yesterday. He put a wig on. Looks like he's ready to go and fight for the Democratic Party establishment. Joyce White. Don't show him an airplane. Don't show that guy an airplane. He was on, there he was. There he is right here.
Well, so you've declared yourself eligible for the WNBA. I think I understand your motivations. You're leaning into ultimately Sophie's push for fairness, but yet the WNBA is now going to hold talks over this nuanced and complex issue where it doesn't really seem complex. Biological men should not be allowed to play in ladies basketball.
So see how they have to do like a 4D chess hypnosis by breaking their all principles that they think they have to prove a point that they're going to lose anyways. They're right. Conservatives like, I'm having so much fun with this. So many liberals are triggered. No, we're just laughing at you harder while rallying behind better candidates on the Democratic Party, like Abdul Al-Sayed, GOAT. What do you mean? Like it's never been so up right now, and like this is such an obvious attempt. So any right winger that's like feeling like, boy, this is something's happening, we're moving the needle, you're not. And then if anything, like I said, you're creating more people that are supportive of the trans community because they're like, wow, Royce White is an absolute subhuman piece of shit, garbage person. Wow, okay, So if that's who the right wing's rallying behind, let me look into what's the problem with why are they so upset with the trans community? And then that's when people will start opening their mind and start realizing, wow, there's nothing wrong with the trans community. They're amazing people, and they just want to be respected and want to fucking be able to have their identity and just be one of us, one of everyone, be part of society. That's it, literally it. And then people will go, okay, then clearly this is an attempt to this is clearly like an attempt to try to just be harmful to the trans community in general. It's not like for standing for men and women's sports. That's the dog whistle part. It's really to just attack the trans community.
Why are you getting involved?
And then to get to the underlying issue of just shitting on women, which is what the Republican Party stands for and which is what conservatives stand for. You wouldn't have Katie Britt doing where is it? In the kitchen, right? Remember this? They want it. It's so fake.
Good evening, America. My name is Katie Britt.
And we are here to talk about how women should return to the kitchen for 17 minutes. So that's the actual belief. This is all noise. This is all just fucking noise. But it's Sunday. There will be big announcements this week. Again, we got another, like, if you got to get to the real news, there's news coming. Like, we got big announcements on the Strait of Hormuz this week. Again, Minnesota's primaries on Tuesday. That's going to be big. Like, this is just distraction, slop noise for people that like slop. But we need to get into it anyways, especially when you got JK fucking Rowling quote tweeting me. I mean, what the fuck?
And how did the WNBA even get to this point?
You know, right now I'm just having a blast in my feminine era. I never thought that I was a woman. You know, I've always trusted the science, and I thought I was a man my entire life. But you know, after further review, strong look at my personal preferences, it would appear that I am indeed sometimes identifying as a transgender woman, and I think it's only fair.
I'm only sometimes identifying. Oh, so he's destroying. Oh, so he's destroying J.K. Rowling's narrative in general, which I did state. He's destroying J.K. Rowling's entire like questions here about how do we tell who's more sincere? It seems like Royce White ain't sincere when he's like himself saying, I only sometimes identify. Only sometimes. Only when I feel like it. When my anxiety allows me.
I get a chance to play with some of my queens here in the twilight of my career, my athletic prime.
The twilight of your career, athletic prime. Does that get to do so? Like when the right wing has RFK Jr. and Pete Hegseth doing push-ups and shit. Is Royce White gonna drop a tape or something when like showing us his basketball ability at the age of 35? Or however the fuck old he is. He looks older than that. Dude looks like he's turning 60. He's like literally only a couple years older than me. That's what's crazy. That's how you know. Sickness. Old, sick. But he's literally, I think, 2 years older than me. I get shit because people think I'm young. It's because it is what it is. How old is he? Yeah, literally 2 years older than me. And he looks like he's, 20 years older than me? What the heck? What the hell? Boy, if I look like this at 35, I'm stressing, man. And if I look like that in 2 years, I'm stressing.
Well, and so exactly what you're saying, Royce, is just sort of pulls the curtain back on the lack of clarity in the WNBA's policies under Article 8 of their 2026 collective bargaining agreement.
So then also the WNBA's meeting about this issue this week. So that's likely why they're pumping this, is because the WNBA will likely come out with like requirements. Like you need to show that you're on hormone blockers or testosterone blockers or estrogen, etc., all that. So if he's going to commit to all that, then go ahead, get on the testosterone blockers, Royce. Start taking estrogen. So maybe we'll get to see how you don't like airplanes. Airplanes are so scary, right? And then it'll just be even better. It'll just be even better for this whole situation. And then we get to be like, look at now who the right wing's rallying behind. Fifth place swimmers, 35-year-old washed athlete, whatever, dude. Like it's getting worse and worse. It's getting worse and worse for the right wing, you guys.
It simply says it.
At least at a cultural level. The issue is like their politics and the people that are operating within them are further right than MAGA. And that's a problem, because then once they start figuring out messaging, that's a whole other problem we're going to have. But they still exist. This is MAGA slop, and it's cooked. The problem is what comes next after all this.
Only players who are women are eligible to play in the NBA, but in the over 400-page document, it doesn't define what a woman is. It seems the answer of what they do now is pretty clear. Would you agree?
So clear.
Well, you know, it's just astounding that the WNBA can't define the W in the name. And I think we're going through a very necessary.
Again, 0 trans athletes in WNBA, by the way. I want to reiterate, 0 trans athletes in the WNBA. None. It's truly a hammer-fisted issue to force conservatives to talk about something and be loud because while Trump is shitting on the country, he's got the record low approval rating in the history of all presidents. The war in Iran still continues. American soldiers are getting fucking just obliterated in the Gulf states when they're like going in between the swimming pool and the PX. They're just taking mortar fire now, because we're bombing children and women in Iran, right? So all of that's happening. The Epstein files weren't released. We got AI data centers. We got flock cameras going up everywhere. ICE agents everywhere. Yeah, it's going so well. And so this is why they need to hammer, because conservatives will never speak out about any of the real problems. Conservatives would never. Hell no. What are you, woke? We don't do that here. We only support Trump. And then we have our guns, my truck, and my fish. But I don't get political. But when it comes to men and women's sports, like, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Okay. And because they have nothing else to contribute to most of the conversation to begin with. Like, there's no forward thinking. Like, if I really hated the United States and like I hated this country, actually, I'd be Republican in 2026. Like, if I was actually trying to commit domestic terrorism in this country, I would be Republican and be conservative, because you're tearing apart the fabric of anything this country could stand for or did stand for, or the idea of America every single day. Or like only every single day, while returning us to dark pasts that we've overcame. So yeah, if I absolutely hated this fucking country and like wanted it to fail, I would go Republican and influence Republican Party. And then if I wanted it to slowly die, I would stay in the Democratic establishment. Okay, so if I wanted it to die fast, Republican Party. If I wanted to die slowly, establishment, Democratic Party. Right, that's the truth of this whole situation.
Conversation about who's actually eligible to play in some of these professional sports leagues, I guess on both sides of the gender spectrum. My goal is to help elevate the WNBA. I think the ticket prices and the attendance, will soar. I think the audience, the live audience, will increase, and I think ultimately it's good for the game. It's going to help evolve the game. I mean,
it's going to help evolve the game by having a man play in literally, again, just shattering the entire WNBA, because again, he's not trans. He can come out and say he is. He's not invalidated. J.K. Rowling wants to know I'm the judge, actually. Since you quote tweeted me, I am now the judge, and I deny Royce White's trans identity because it's not like a here and there thing. It's not like, oh, I just decided to be trans on Tuesdays. What are you talking about? What do you mean? Oh, I only decided to be trans to play in the WNBA to prove a point that I'm not proving. Nope. Denied. Nope. The crazy existence. It's like, the right wing will argue about all this all day, but then literally becoming the thing they hate to prove a point is wild. Wild levels of psychosis. Which is why I say bring the asylums back and start putting Royce White and others like them in them. That's where they need to be. We truly need, like, how we got ICE agents rounding up immigrants? We need a department to round up fucking people that need to be institutionalized. that are like gonna bring actual harm to people when you put Royce White in a women's space. Start like it's crazy. Like look at, I mean, just don't even take it from me. Take it from him. Just last night before I went to bed, before I saw J.K. Rowling quote tweet me. Join the club, Robin. I'll slap your big goofy ass. Bitch slap you like Pootie Tang. I will fight over these trans rights. Like, damn, dude, we get it. You love beating women. Like, we get it. Amanda even put in a word. I know a lot of people don't really care about this kind of stuff, but even a 5-year stay away order is almost impossible to get. I thought that the people saying 50 years were joking, but it's real. That is, you have to do something really egregious. Yeah, 50 years. It's not 5. It's 50. 50 years stay away from his ex-wife and 2 years from his stepson. It's the idea that there's like that they're on a equal playing field, as if that's like something. Oh yeah, this is a good argument here. Let's back Royce White. That's not. She threatened to fund. Oh, you're talking about J.K. Rowling. Ace Chrome Cheetah sent 20. She threatened to fund defamation lawsuits against Amnesty UK for calling out GCs and pointing out they've been receiving funds from U.S. evangelicals, like the ADF report. That's a lot of acronyms. I ain't gonna lie, Ace Chrome Cheetah. That's a lot of acronyms. In a report that the group were not forced to scrub and apologize. Yeah, I mean, wasn't she connected to Jeff Epstein? She denied it. Oh, that's right. Her name was in the documents that we got. People were J.K. Rowling did not invite Epstein to Harry Potter and the Cursed Child's Broadway opening, and it was turned away at the door, apparently. So it says Jeff Epstein was refused entry into Harry Potter and the Cursed Child's Broadway opening. The Epstein documents revealed that the late financier wanted to attend the Cursed Child event in April of 2018 and was sent tickets by the stage show's producers, but was ultimately turned away at the door. J.K. Rowling's critics jumped to the conclusion that she had invited Epstein, but in a post on X Twitter, Harry Potter author denied ever meeting or communicating with the criminal. You don't defend people like Royce White. Like, if you have any principles at all, which J.K. Rowling doesn't, clearly, you don't now defend Royce White. If that's true, it seems to be like a pattern. And then how does Jeff Epstein even get tickets? By the stage show's producers. That doesn't happen without high-level authorization. Is this the post denying it? In no way. And this platform is just so bad, dude. X just loads like a dog shit. Okay, there we go. This is beyond silly. Neither I nor anybody on my team ever met, communicated with, or... Okay, Bill Clinton. Calm down. I never had sexual relations with that woman. Right. Oh, here's some... Oh. What is this? It's part of the Epstein files. Because, again, we did read some of it. We saw J.K. Rowling in them, but I couldn't make much of it at the time because Operation Metro Surge and 4,000 armored ICE agents were invading my state. So I couldn't also go through all of the Epstein files at the same time. But it was overwhelming. Like it was the ICE agents in Minnesota and the Epstein file release, and then we're at war with it was a lot. The start of the year was a lot, and we're still in it. So, but I'm sorry I couldn't get into the Epstein files as much as people liked me to. But the ICE agents, okay, it was one or the other, and I was already out there covering Operation Metro Surge starting in December before everybody even knew what was happening. So it looks like you got an email here with Jeffrey Epstein with a signature that matches how J.K. Rowling used to sign her tweets. Very curious. Very curious. The actual invitation to Jeffrey Epstein is in the Epstein files. I'm sure people have broken this stuff down, and I'm like late to this, but this is the type of people that are on the side of the men and women sports Royce Whites. They're truly like the worst of humankind. I don't consider them human beings, actually. Aliens, actual aliens. Send them back to their planet. Send them back. And then here we go, shitting on AOC, just shitting on women today. The same people that want to support women. She'll turn 37 in a couple of months. If she got pregnant now, it would technically be a geriatric pregnancy. Instead, she's freezing her eggs. See how they want to control every aspect of women, every aspect. Bro, I can't even control my own life, like let alone trying to control another person, but dedicating my entire existence to trying to control women. Dude, this is the actual the base level of it. Because AOC made a personal choice so she can have kids someday. And try to do something unique and also normalize what other women likely do and go through. I don't know, I'm a man. I don't know what women go through in terms of this, but it seems cool. And it seems like AOC's normalizing something that might be difficult for women, when especially again, the older you get, from what I've heard from women, is it is harder to get pregnant the older you get. But now here, there's other ways to do it. So that way, if you do get older and you do want kids, wow, look at AOC normalizing it. Holy shit. They're weird. Like, never in my life. I'll have kids in their 20s by the time I turn 50. Nobody cares, and I bet you they'll hate you. I bet you your children will be leftist influencers, because there's no way you grow up in Matt Walsh's household and hate him every single day. There's no way you grow up in that household and not literally plot to fucking absolutely unleash everything you know about his private life, even being his kids. There's no way. It's insane. So they're weird. It's all to control women. The whole point. That's it. Nothing else. The control of women. And then also women, and then people who have people's body parts and where they can put them. Except for when it comes to minors, though, because we know the conservatives definitely love that. And they definitely love islands. They definitely love like beauty pageants, because the president loved those and they voted for him. So they truly don't care about when it comes to that part. But like when it comes to adults, and who has body parts and whatnot, that seems to, and who pee and poop and all that, like that's what conservatives care about. But also they care about trying to influence Democrats in the upcoming Michigan election. We had some things to go through. I mean, do we need anything else on J.K. Rowling and Royce White? Is Royce White okay? I hope not. Guy's absolutely a terrible person. In like always, there's nothing redeemable about Royce White, because what he says, things that tickle MAGA's jollies, that's it. He says the MAGA speech, so he's good. Go fuck yourself. MAGA is they're irredeemable. It's an irredeemable group of people. The only time MAGA can be redeemed is if they leave that. But even then, it's gonna take, you got to go through a journey. You're not gonna be welcomed right away. But you keep stay on the path and you keep learning and keep undoing all the bullshit, then yeah, you'll be fine. But no, if you're irredeemable if you stay MAGA, truly. So you had Abdul al-Sayed, who's one of the current political goats of our time. In this time period, went on Meet the Press this morning. I'd like to review that, and then also AOC was on ABC as well. So we had Abdul al-Sayed, who also went viral yesterday. Or was it? I had it searched up. In which he responded to Sky News about Trump said you're full of shit. Well, here was Abdul al-Sayed's response.
Abdul, Donald Trump seems to think you're a gift to the Republican Party. What do you say to that?
I'm a gift to the state of Michigan, God willing, and hope to win this election.
And he says, if you pardon the language, you're full of shit. What do you say to that?
At least I don't let mine go in the middle of the Oval Office.
Dang. And you know what's crazy? That is what people want. They want people that are going to fight back, that aren't going to be like, because MAGA feelings will be hurt from that. We like that. I want more, actually. Give me more. The more MAGA tears, the better. Num, 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 num. And do you know what people love most about, like, actually, the people that love the most about the Harris-Walz campaign? Obviously, they didn't like the Israel support. And that's likely why they lost. But the parts that they did like was when Tim Walz would go directly at MAGA and go directly fucking at him, call him weird, start shitting on him. Yes. Yes. Demean them, shit on them, all that. Fuck that. You will get so many more voters, especially in this political climate. MAGA gets to shit toss, shit throw all day long. That's all they do, by the way. That's their whole strat, is just shit throwing. There's zero policies. None. It's Trump and political shit throwing. Okay, that's it. So when you have the other side not even doing it, or like they were doing it and people loved it, and then they were told by the rich elitists to, oh, stop. We gotta bring over conservatives to vote for us. That's a losing strat, by the way. How did that go? Did that help? Did Kamala Harris win by trying to tone down the rhetoric to try to bring more conservatives over? Did that work? No, it doesn't work. Fuck them. So start shitting on them. And start shitting on the fucking narrative. Start anything that they say back, return fire. They say it back, they say it to you, return fucking back. Send it. Don't try to make this like kumbaya peace and everything with MAGA. Absolutely the fuck not. Right? So I love this energy. This is the energy that needs to continue. And tell them off. Tell them. And they love it anyways. They love that shit. So I love that from Abdul Al-Sayed. Okay, hearing that. And then this is very sad as well. When I'm seeing after Abdul Al-Sayed won, they're a lot of liberal influencers, and I don't want to call them out right now, like because they're influencers, and I don't want to create problems with their community and shit. But it's like you guys know it's happening. Okay, so they're saying it. And they're trying to make an argument like, oh, the right wing is going to do so much better with Abdul Al-Sayed than they would Haley. No, they're not. No, they're not. And you got way more energy behind Abdul Al-Sayed than you did Haley Stevens. There's more energy. There's more people willing to do more and provide more to the conversation. But also they're trying to argue that Mike Rogers now is going to try to appeal, which he did. I guess they were right about that, but if you're an actual Democratic Party influencer, you blew no matter who, right? If you're a Democratic Party influencer, it's like whoever wins the primary, that's who you support, right? Because you're like, you want to win. You don't want to play these. It's like I'm noticing a lot of establishment Democratic Party influencers just choose a different path, and they're choosing a path of, well, let's do soft propaganda for the Republican Party. And let's start, you know, into giving them alley-oops of like, hey, they campaigned with Hassan. They campaigned with Hassan Piker. See, that's not electable. That's not electable. The Republicans are going to love that one. Here you go, Republicans. Here's a Hassan clip or something. And that's what they're doing. That's the game they're playing right now. But not all of them, but a lot of these liberal establishment type influencers, because I'm looking at all of it now. You know, I come from the right wing. I come from that area. That area is dead. So now I kind of look at the whole situation, especially being more on the left now, I'd say. So I'm looking at, there's like two things going on the left. There's anti-establishment leftists and people that will vote in the Democratic Party and they even will. They've even voted for the establishment when it comes down to it. But the whole time they're going to be advocating for someone that isn't establishment. And that makes sense. That just makes perfect fucking sense, of course. But they're not like a person that is anti-establishment is not going to cuck out to the establishment unless they absolutely fucking have to when it comes down to the Republican candidate versus the Democratic candidate. We only have a two-party system. That's all we have. So the whole time the fight should be to try to get an anti-establishment candidate in there if that's who they're fighting for. Not like, oh, let's just we just got to settle for the establishment because that's who's going to be more electable. Especially in this climate, it's not. That's how you know the right, like, more establishment, conservative, democratic influencers don't pay attention to anything. Like, you know, they're not even on the ground usually. They're not out there just talking to people, you know, on the streets who are like seeing this Trump administration and how bad it is. And it's giga establishment. Okay, giga establishment fascist. So people are not going to settle for establishment light when MAGA is as bad as it has been. They're going to want more. So then you have Mike Rogers, who's the Republican MAGA, running in the Michigan race, and here's his message to Democrats.
If you're among the majority of Democratic voters that woke up on Wednesday feeling, well, hopeless.
The majority, right? When Abdul al-Sayed won by a lot.
Because the person...
Well, he didn't win by a lot, I guess, but like the numbers that showed up for the Democratic Party in general were a lot. Like, what do you have, over 700,000 votes for him? Same with Haley Stevens, though. He didn't like beat her by a lot. I'm not saying that, but like a lot of people showed up for the race in general. Yeah, 743K for him and 727 for Haley Stevens. A lot of people. So what do you mean? And then also when he wins, what do you mean the majority of Democratic voters? Like, who are you even talking to? But if you're a liberal influencer, you're going to look at, oh, wow, this is the scary Republican Party that I don't spend any time actually fighting against. This is their narrative to fight against the anti-establishment. And it's clown behavior, especially when, like, I'm scared. Like, his wife is scaring me right now. Look at her. She's staring in your fucking soul right now. If you guys have been looking at the screen, you're probably like, please hit play. But it doesn't get better because I'm going to hit play and your face doesn't change. It's going to be like that. Ready?
The person who won does not represent your values.
Oh, she looks away, but then it's going to look again.
No hope. Michigan deserves a senator who is ready to sit with you, hear from you, and represent you. The parents across Michigan who want an education system that sets up their kids for success.
Dude, she fucking yells at kids. Like, you totally know she yells at kids that aren't hers. Like, just cuz. There's no Karens that are like that.
You have a home with us. To grandparents across Michigan who are heartbroken from watching their kids and grandkids leave the state.
Yeah.
You have a home with us. To young people who are looking for real solutions to solve our housing
the couple you see at the bar.
affordability crisis. You have a home with us. To working families who don't want higher taxes and lower paychecks, well, you have a home with us. And to the vast majority of people across Michigan.
I don't even know what he's saying because his wife is scaring the fuck out of me. Like, literally a horror character.
Do not want to throw their support behind a campaign filled with anger, divisiveness, calls for violence, and the views that are out of touch with your values. Well, you have a home with us.
No, thank you.
The fight is far greater than just...
We're going to walk in and she's going to yell, get your feet off the... Take your shoes off. God. I'm start getting yelled at right when you walk in the door.
Left versus right. The fight is for the very soul of our nation. Over the next 90 days, I'm going to work hard to earn your trust, to earn your support, and earn your vote. We have a state to save, Michigan. Let's get to work.
No. Oh, why don't you... I guess you can smile, but even then, I'm like, I'm scared. Yeah. So this is who liberals said leftists should be afraid of if you're like anti-establishment. I don't think you have much to be afraid of in the general, especially when Abdul's showing up like this. That's Abdul al-Sayed. That's Mike Rogers. I'm scared. There you go. There you go. What do you guys think? Republican, Democrat. This is what we got. And again, Abdul al-Sayed's the anti-establishment, but when we have a two-party system, that's what he's going to have to run in. Also, people are upset that he got endorsed by Kamala Harris, and I don't understand why you would be upset about that. Like, you need that. Where's the official? Is this the... There you go, Kamala Harris. People are posting, and it's like, you gotta knock it off at some point. You know what I mean? Like, at some point, you gotta take the win. Okay, there's like a fight there to be had, and like you got to play the game. I'm going to teach you a phrase. It's called playing the game. Like in the military, when you're serving in the military, that shit sucks sometimes. Like you don't want to do it because it's like you got to stay late and then they can wake you up in the middle of the night to have you go do some bullshit. But like as long as you just play the game or you just show up and you wear the uniform and then like just basically just do the thing that they just expect, but like you're still you can still be yourself. You can still, you know, be a leader. You could like, especially as like a NCO, you can lead your squad. You can lead your team how you want. It doesn't have to be necessarily how the first sergeant wants or how the army expects. Like you can do your own, like you have to have a standard, right? You can't just be like, you know, you can't be like a rebel, but you know, you can lead your squad and lead your team the way you want. You know what I mean? As long as you're playing the game, you got to play the game. So this is what playing the game means. Okay, obviously Kamala Harris, establishment, we know. But when you have an endorsement like this, when she's like, she will now open the door for people that are establishment to start looking at his politics more and be like, okay, Abdul isn't so scary, because they're watching establishment left liberal influencers just shit on him all day and talk about how he's like, and then bring Hassan into it all day long. So when Kamala Harris does this, it's like, well, is this likely to, is that also, two things can be true. It helps him. Is this also something that's she's going to likely try to use in the future to springboard her own interests? Probably. But like I said, when you're trying to run an election and when it's now the primary is over, right? The primary's done. You got this guy and you got Abdul al-Sayed, and that's it for Michigan. That's who you got. Okay. That's the game. So when you get this, you just take it. You just take it, and you can, and then yeah, you can definitely, like, at some point, you know, I'm not saying don't have your opinion. Be like, yo, his message is anti-Israel, and her message is let's continue Joe Biden, right? And so how does those two messages connect? But like right now, that's a time for later. Have that like when he wins. And then when Kamala Harris is running her election, you force her to meet him. You don't make him meet her. That's the other thing I don't understand. People that are further left, like when he's running in this election, it's about him winning. When she's running in the future and she's going to likely try to use shit like this, you call her out on it and be like, okay, you know, you used Abdul al-Sayed. Do you also stand for Palestine? Do you also stand for no more weapons to Israel? Do you also stand for Medicare for all? Do you also stand for, because you hold her to his standard now because he won, or he won his primary, and if he wins, except just say for example, you hold her to his standard. She was the vice president and she held a higher rank, I guess, in the government, but that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter when there's more energy behind him. She lost her election. He's won his primary again. We're future speaking, but I'm just saying there's a lot of people that are on the left that are upset about this, and you do not. Like, just hold on to it, put it in your back pocket, and when she's running for her campaign and she starts using Abdul al-Sayed to be like, look, the left loves me, then that's when you'd be like, okay, do you blah, 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 blah? Do you want to cut off Israel, basically? Are you gonna do what you said in 2024 and continue Joe Biden's policy in the Middle East? Or because you backed Abdul al-Sayed in 2026 and his policies, is that what you're going to stick to? You put the microscope back on her. Like the idea that it's on Abdul al-Sayed here is crazy, right? Or as if like he shouldn't accept this. Don't play silly games. There's no games to be played there. Okay, there's no hypercritical thinking other than, yes, it's true. Like, yes, definitely understand, and it's not hurting him. He's not sacrificing his principles. It's not like he was like, Kamala, please. And if anything, he endorsed Kamala Harris before Haley Stevens in 2024. Okay, Haley Stevens didn't endorse her right away. He did. So it needs to stop. Just accept it. It's a good endorsement to have. She was the vice president. It'll bring over more establishment thinking people to Abdul al-Sayed, and let him cook and let him do his thing. Like, he doesn't need help. Here, listen.
Michigan's Democratic Senate nominee, Abdul al-Sayed. Dr. al-Sayed, welcome to Meet the Press.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being here, and congratulations. Let's talk about your victory this week. You
said Hassan is a net negative to the political landscape. Establishment Dems are exploiting it. Are they? How's that going for him? They're not. Are they winning elections like being anti-Hassan? How is that working so far?
Narrowly defeated Congresswoman Haley Stevens. And when you actually add up all of the votes, the vote totals that went to Stevens and Mallory McMorrow, a majority of voters actually ended up voting for candidates who are more moderate than you. So how do you win over those voters who voted for someone else?
Well, thank you, Kristen. I really were just grateful for everybody who participated. And the overwhelming recognition of the vote tallies is that 500,000 more Democrats voted than did Republicans in that election. If that happens, we are going to win in a landslide. Now, I know that we had it out with a very tough primary. There were a lot of issues that were discussed and differences that were identified and fixated on. But I will tell you this, that all of us agree that our differences are far smaller than...
There is no 45-year war against the United States, brother. I can't, like, what do you mean, bro? Like, what happened to that comment? Someone said that I will, give me the 45-year war against the U.S. Trump is ending in Iran while Israel is pissed at Trump for not doing their... What are you talking about? But there is no big 45-year war against the U.S. More like 45 years of assisted imperialism through Israel. Or like a 45-year project in Israel. Try that. More like 45 years of getting what we asked for in terms of the Middle Eastern war because we keep funding Israel. That's what's going on.
What we agree on. And what we agree on is that Donald Trump has been...
And then also we need more people from that are around the world to stand too. Like if you're not like an American per se, but you like are interested in geopolitics, we need influencers from Europe that are done with funding Israel too, because your European country shouldn't be funding Israel because America wants to. The same problems that are happening in the U.S. economically are happening across the world in Western countries because we just keep funding war forever that don't help anybody. And then all of Europe and other countries then have to come to the aid of the U.S. and your economies are suffering because of it. And then we get to be lazy and do immigrant propaganda like we do here in the U.S., but for European countries now to blame the problem on immigrants, just like we do in the U.S.
But I will tell you this, that all of us agree that our differences are far smaller than what we agree on. And what we agree on is that Donald Trump has been an existential threat to our democracy. He is costing us jobs. He is costing us more at almost every aspect of our lives, whether it's our gas, our groceries, or our health care.
Everything.
And that Mike Rogers is going to be nothing more than a rubber stamp on Donald Trump's disastrous economic and foreign policies. And so this is the opportunity for us to come together, to mend fences, to build together the coalition that is going to defeat Mike Rogers in November and defeat Trumpism over the next 2 years.
Well,
that was the problem with Haley Stevens, is that she would continue funding Israel in some way, shape, or form, or like want to. Like, you don't just say Israel comes to me in my dreams and all this cringe ass shit if you don't have if you're not trying to continue influencing Israel.
Let me ask you about some news that we are learning this morning. Local outlets reporting that you spoke to former President Barack Obama on the phone. I know you're not going to give me every detail of the call, but what was the crux of his message to you, Dr. El-Sayed?
Well, Kristen, you're right. I like to keep private conversations private, but it was a really warm and inspiring conversation. I got to be honest with you, I never saw myself ever able to run for public office. I literally told former President Bill Clinton that at my college graduation, in which I was the senior speaker and he was the main speaker. And I then watched the next year Barack Hussein Obama run for and win the presidency. I watched him serve with a level of class, a level of elegance that we could only pine for now. So I really enjoyed the conversation. I was grateful for his advice. It was very warm, very inviting. And I know that he knows the critical role that Michigan is going to play in holding Trump accountable, in winning back the Senate, and in building forward the future that we need.
Is he going to campaign with you, Dr. El-Sayed?
Look, I really hope so. And it was a really good conversation about what we need to do to be able to win. And obviously, this is somebody who knows a lot about winning Michigan.
And just to be clear, do you anticipate he'll show up on the campaign trail with you? Is that one of the broad topics you all discussed?
Look, we talked a lot about what it'll take to win. Obviously, his presence here in Michigan would mean so much to the coalition that helped elect him. So I hope that we get to campaign together.
One of the big issues you ran on, of course, was Medicare for All. So let's talk about that. You served as a public health official in Michigan. You even co-authored a book making the case for Medicare for All. Senator Bernie Sanders also campaigned on it as a presidential candidate back in 2016. 10 years later, this idea still does not have a majority support in Congress. If you were to win in November, Dr. El-Sayed, how do you make Medicare for All a reality when so far it has not had enough support?
Get more people like Abdul El-Sayed in office, period. That's it. You vote more people like Abdul El-Sayed that are going to be about it in, and more people that are going to play games out. And then you majority it, and then you party line vote, because the Republicans will be against it, but you need the majority, and you need more people like Abdul El-Sayed in office to vote for it, and that's it. Kind of like how the Republicans are hammer fisting issues nobody supports through right now, right? Fuck them. I'm sick of the Democratic Party playing this bipartisan game when the Republican Party doesn't. Like, what are you talking? What is going on?
Well, Kristen, I've been up and down my state, and everywhere I go, people say the same things. It just shouldn't be this hard. And one of the big things that they bring up is the fact that they're worried about having to see a doctor if they get sick and what that'll mean for them. The median deductible, meaning the money that you pay to get the health care you already thought you paid for every single month, is about $4,500 for a family of four. That, considering the fact that the median income is about $80,000, means that you're going to lose more than a whole paycheck just to actually pay for the health care you thought you already paid for. Our system has only gotten less and less effective, less efficient over time, as we've watched health insurance corporations collude with big hospitals and the pharmaceutical industry to figure out how to pick more and more of our dollars out of our pocket to put into theirs. We don't have to live like this. We have an opportunity to guarantee cradle-to-grave health care from the moment that somebody is born to the moment that they expire, God willing, at 120 years of life after a long, healthy life in their sleep peacefully. And it would guarantee them the health care that they need, independent of the circumstances, wherever they needed to go. That is the kind of security we've never had in this country, and is the kind of security that the healthcare corporations have denied us. So we're watching more people support Medicare for All every day. We're watching more elected officials support Medicare for All every day. And in a lot of ways, this campaign was a referendum on whether or not we want health care here or bomb somewhere else. And I think the Michigander, the Michigan voter chose health care here.
Well, you know,
exactly. Yeah. Perfect.
Some Americans worry, though, you can only make Medicare free and universal if you increase taxes. So if you are elected and make this push, would you need to increase taxes?
As I've said across this campaign, I am for taxing billionaires their wealth.
What about people who make less than $1 billion and less than $1 million, though, Dr. El-Sayed? What about people making less than $1 million?
So for the average person, and you look at your W-2, if you're an employee who gets paid every 2 weeks or 4 weeks, after you pay your taxes, the next biggest check that comes off the top of your pay stub is to your health insurance company. So imagine, instead of paying that to your health insurance company, whose CEO makes $20 million a year, instead you paid a little bit more in taxes for health care that you wouldn't lose if you lost your job or turned 26 or got married or got divorced. I think all of us would be a lot more interested in that kind of a system if we knew that our health care would be free at the point of care and would be free.
Because you won't have copays. You won't have to go in and pay more, because you just be able to go and just go to the doctor.
Without
like you can in most civilized countries,
having to worry about losing it in general. So there's an opportunity here, I think, to trade what we give to a big corporation who gets to decide who we get to see and who we don't for a little bit more paid into FICA. And I think that's a trade that's worth making. I think the broader public understands that that's a trade worth making, considering how many people are holding medical debt, a third of all Michigan households.
And when people start seeing these policies play out, when they start realizing, oh, wow, I can just go to the doctor without co-pays or without having super chungus expensive insurance, and they'll start being like, okay. And then when we give less money to Israel and to continue funding wars in the Middle East, and we have more money for taking care of the American people, hopefully that'll be enough, but probably not, because the propaganda machine works against all that.
Right now.
Just to be very clear, you're describing this trade-off. You are effectively acknowledging that people making less than $1 million could see their taxes go up. I just want to be very clear. Is that a yes?
I'm saying that we'd be paying for health care in a different way. Instead of paying a health insurance company whose CEO makes $20 million, I would much rather pay for durable health care into a government, which, of course, we all know provides health care for seniors who need health care the most. So if I'm trading paying a CEO to make more money or paying government to guarantee me health care, I'm picking the latter every time.
All right, let's talk about another big issue that dominated the campaign and will undoubtedly be a big topic of conversation in the general election, your criticism of Israel. President Trump had this to say after your win this week. I'm going to play it, get your reaction on the other side. Take a look.
He doesn't love Israel. He doesn't love Jewish people. He hates them. He hates them with a passion that burns in his heart.
What's your reaction to that, Dr. Al-Sayed?
I love and revere Judaism and the Jewish people. I believe they're a light unto the world. I grew up in a community that had a large Jewish population. I was so grateful to get to be invited to Seder and to Shul and to Bar and Bat mitzvahs. I'm really honored for what I learned and got to share with my Jewish sisters and brothers. But they are not the same as AIPAC in Israel. AIPAC is an organization that spent, $30 million to beat me so that they could have one more vote in the U.S. Senate to guarantee that our taxpayer dollars would be sent abroad to subsidize a foreign government's military to do the worst things: genocide, apartheid, take us into wars we have no business fighting. And I'm running for Senate here in Michigan. I believe that we have a responsibility here in Michigan. I want our tax dollars spent to provide good schools, to pay for health care, to rebuild our roads here in Michigan, rather than it being sent abroad to subsidize foreign militaries. That's not just Israel, by the way. That is also Egypt and Saudi Arabia and Jordan and Pakistan. So I believe in international law. I believe in equal rights to peace, dignity, and self-determination for all people. I believe in a process that allows a free Palestinian people and free Jewish Israeli people to come together around what they believe the ultimate peace should look like. And I believe that our tax dollars should be spent on the things that are needed here in Michigan rather than to subsidize foreign militaries abroad.
Let me follow up with you on that point. You've just reiterated that you would rule out unconditional foreign military aid to Israel. Just to be very clear, is there any scenario where you would approve more aid to Israel, more military aid in any form?
Jesus, brother. Just say no.
Well, if we were in a scenario where there were equal rights to peace, dignity, and self-determination for the Palestinian people and Jewish Israeli people, and they had come together to achieve that ultimate peace, and there were circumstances in which that was guaranteed, there would be a very, very different circumstance. But for right now, we are in a situation where we are continuously subsidizing the military of a state that has behaved in ways that can only be described as rogue. You think about the genocide in Gaza. You think about the continued attempt to annex southern Lebanon. These are things that we cannot subsidize, considering the fact that we have kids who need better schools and better roads and bridges and better health care here in America.
You're saying you would not support sending aid to Israel, which was attacked by Hamas, but you have also...
Jesus, dude. Holy. Meet the Tel Aviv media. What the hell is this? Brother. I knew when I watched her laughing and giggling it up with Stephen Miller the other day. I wasn't... What the hell, dude? It's pretty simple. Israel's committing genocide. We don't want to support that. Cut them off. No more weapons, no more aid. Go fuck yourselves. Is that clear enough? Could we just say that instead of dancing around it? But when you're on establishment media, it's like, no. I mean, he's made his position very clear. You know, if Israel abided by human rights, if it was an actual democracy, you know, if it was what weren't trying to ethnically cleanse Lebanon and Palestine, genocide Palestine, you know, there'd be a different conversation to be had then, but that's not the situation we have. Very simple to understand.
Lebanon. These are things that we cannot subsidize, considering the fact that we have kids who need better schools and better roads and bridges and better health care here in America.
You're saying you would not support sending aid to Israel, which was attacked by Hamas, but you have also said that you would support sending military aid to Ukraine, which was, of course, attacked and invaded by Russia.
Based.
Where do you draw the line there?
Based. Very easy to understand. Good. I have the same position as Abdul Al-Sayed. Perfect. I have the same exact position as Abdul Al-Sayed. Great, which is the correct position. The correct position is to support Ukraine and Palestine while cutting off aid to Israel. That's the actual correct position. Okay, like I told you, there's incorrect opinions. You can have an opinion, but you can also be wrong. And the correct position geopolitically when it comes to the biggest wars taking place right now is to support Ukraine and to support Palestine. That's it. Period. Okay, so Abdul al-Said can understand that. You got a lot of, you see a lot of establishment Ukraine in their profile picture. Just like, I'm so glad I'm so glad I'm far away from that now, because it's bad. Because they're trying to litigate Abdul al-Sayed as if he doesn't support Ukraine. He does. And supporting Ukraine, who's fighting an actual defense, it'd be like if we could have a reality in which we could send weapons to Palestine. That's what I would support. Just like I went and fought for Ukraine to get weapons, I would support for Palestine to get those, to fight against Israel. Because I see Israel in the same light as I see Russia. I see no difference. And if anything, their propaganda works kind of in tandem with each other, between Russian propaganda and Israeli propaganda. Often. All the time. So I see that's how I've always seen this conflict. I was in Ukraine on October 7th. Okay, they had the Israeli flag flying all through Kyiv. They had it flying on every billboard, everything. And as time went on, I'm like Israel's did nothing to support Ukraine. And I think the Ukrainian people felt that too, because that kind of was like a thing for a little bit. And then because Israel did fucking nothing to help Ukraine. Nothing whatsoever. And it's also like when October 7th happened, if you were like online during that time period, and if you were involved in geopolitical communities, it was almost as if Israel supporters demanded. It wasn't like, hey, support Israel. It was like, oh, you support Ukraine, you have to support Israel too. And that was the first time I was like, I don't think so. And obviously it's only gotten worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And it just made it so clear that Israel is the perpetrator here. Especially when you know Netanyahu is allied with Hamas prior to all this. There's some questions around all that whole thing. I think he funded what happened on October 7th.
Attacked and invaded by Russia. Where do you draw the line there?
Well, in Ukraine, you're talking about attacks from a leader of a neighboring sovereign country,
exactly,
who clearly violated international law in attempting to breach the sovereignty of the Ukrainian public. That is conditional on that circumstance. We have been offering unconditional foreign military aid to Israel, independent of the circumstances, for years and years and years.
Exactly.
And might I say, it's not just Israel, it's also Egypt, it's also Jordan, it's also Saudi Arabia.
Exactly. Smart. It's not just Israel. It's also some Middle Eastern countries too. Get all of our money out of the Middle East. All of it. Done. And yes, Saudi Arabia is as equal of a threat when it comes to their power and influence. We support Israel, and Israel's committing a genocide. But we also have big deals with Saudi Arabia in our entertainment industry, okay, and our sports industry, and it's not good. It's not good. So just as much as Israel too, it's like we have problems of funding Middle Eastern countries as well that are just as bad. Okay, it's no, just get our fucking money out of there completely.
That's the difference. It's about the conditions. So when we're talking about taking on Putin and his violation of international law, I do believe we have a responsibility to uphold international law and therefore to support Ukraine in its efforts.
You have
the correct position. There it is, and it's been this the whole time. The correct position from day one was to support Palestine and to support Ukraine. And if you're one of those people, that's why I guess our community is the way it is, because that's us. But many communities are either one way or the other, and that sucks. That sucks. It's like, oh, you support Ukraine, but you can't support Palestine, or like you got to support Israel and Ukraine, or whatnot. Nah. Israel and Russia are the same to me in terms of how they're genociding their neighbor. Russia's genociding Ukrainians, trying to remove their language, their identity, their existence, their culture, their religion, the whole nine, all of it. And Israel is doing the same thing to Palestinians, the exact same thing.
said, and I want to talk about your political identity now. You have said you're not a Democratic socialist. You were backed by Senator Bernie Sanders, who, of course, proudly says he is a Democratic socialist. You've even attended events hosted by the Democratic Socialists of America. Where do you differ from Senator Sanders? Is there one policy issue where you can point out a difference?
Capitalism. You know, I'm a scientist, and I believe in good, thoughtful, evidence-based solutions to problems. You know, when it comes to the question of capitalism, allocating capital based on supply and demand at the level at which it's supposed to work, where you have free entry and exit into markets, you know, I support that idea. I understand right now, though, that we don't live under capitalism. We live under corporatism. You have huge corporations that have used their power, in effect, to try and buy politicians so that those politicians will turn around and help them use government to protect their position in markets. That is anti-capitalist. And look, you can go back to...
But dumbasses will call him a communist. He's literally arguing for capital. He's arguing for capitalism here. That's how, guys, if you're a European, I hope you're just looking at America like you know how he's a scientist, but you know how people look at things through a magnifying glass and a petri dish. Look at America like a petri dish. Like, we are just so everyone's so stupid. This dude's a capitalist, okay? And you got people calling him a commie and like these leftist commies just because he's anti-establishment. That's it. And the establishment is so fascist and so far right and so, like he said, corporatist, which it is. The corporations have taken over everything. They've destroyed everything. Like, we get a life, I guess. It's because we get to be comfortable in an existence. Not everybody, though, depending on where they live or depending on their economic situation. So not really. But if you're like doing okay, it might not feel like that. But like when you start looking at your entertainment, like, you know, for me, it's video games. All of the corporations have bought out all of my favorite games, and now they're just slop. Every big AAA brand new game comes out, it's dog shit. AI is taking over the music industry, which sucks ass. But even then, you had corporate sellout happening through fucking Spotify deals and everything. Just literally destroying art. Okay, corporations are just destroying art and entertainment. Movies, like, are few and far between. You know, movies get corporatized and put slop in them, right? And then you really got to, it's like, again, a good movie comes out every now and then, and it's good to call out when they are, like The Odyssey. Love that movie. And also the new Spider-Man movie, actually really good. Okay, where Marvel has become corporate slop, in my opinion, with a lot of their movies recently. But this new one is pretty grounded. So that's why I said few and far between, but it usually infects a lot. Like, you know, in movies, they inject a lot of CGI, you know, a lot of this, try to make a quick buck because it's fast entertainment, you know, like the same shit you get from when you're scrolling your Instagram feed or whatever. You know, you're getting this dopamine hit by watching all the explosions on screen, but it's like, that's corporate slop because they're trying to feed people. And whatever, it all is corporatism, like Abdullah Al-Sayed is talking about, which is a problem. And you have people that will argue for communism and argue for a different economic system than capitalism. That is not what Abdullah Al-Sayed's doing here. He's literally a capitalist arguing for capitalism, and he literally said, "I differ from Bernie Sanders because I support capitalism." Very interesting, very, very interesting. But like, his position about corporatism is correct, though. And how far and how bad the corporations have control over everything. That is true. We already pay a subscription fee in our tax money. That is our America subscription fee. That's it. But we have to pay more for corporations, and we have subscription fees for everything now because that's how they're operating. Now you're gonna have subscription fees for subscription fees, while also paying taxes. Well, so like, while we have these corporations taking over aspects of our government, you got Trump trying to shill his own private corporate healthcare and his phone and everything. Is there an option to opt out of taxes then? Right? How about that? How about this? People that support corporations, while we're paying more money in subscription fees and private costs for goods, has our taxes gone down? Do we have an option to opt out of paying taxes because we buy private? No, we don't. So you're paying more and more and more for the corporations while still maintaining the tax that you have to pay to the government. And then the right wing will say, well, we got to lower the taxes. They won't say we got to increase the tax on the working class and lower the taxes on the rich. That's what the right wing would say. We got to lower the taxes on the rich because it'll trickle down. There's more people there's more people that will engage in the economy, and they'll be stimulated by all the rich money. It doesn't ever make its way down because the rich, when they get tax breaks, just put that money back into their stocks, or they put it back into their war chest or their investments. They're not going to the small towns and then spending money at mom and pop shops and blessing the poors with their money, trickling it. You're here, poors, you're gonna have my money. No, they don't do that. They pocket all that. So there's problems with capitalism in general, right? But the super problems are with the corporate control and the corporatism. So there's lots of things going on with this. But a very interesting, though, and clear argument here, but the right wing won't care. Neither will establishment Democrats that are sincere. If you're being sincere, he's your choice and you're not going to play games. But there are going to be establishment Democrats that are going to lock arms with MAGA in terms of calling him all types of things that aren't true, including a communist. There's nothing he said here is communism. If anything, again, he's arguing for capitalism.
You're not a democratic socialist. You were backed by Senator Bernie Sanders, who, of course, proudly says he is a democratic socialist. You've even attended events hosted by the Democratic Socialists of America. Where do you differ from Senator Sanders? Is there one policy issue where you can point out a difference?
Capitalism. You know, I'm a scientist, and I believe in good, thoughtful, evidence-based solutions to problems. You know, when it comes to the question of capitalism, allocating capital based on supply and demand at the level at which it's supposed to work, where you have free entry and exit into markets, you know, I support that idea. I understand right now, though, that we don't live under capitalism. We live under corporatism. You have huge corporations that have used their power, in effect, to try and buy politicians so that those politicians will turn around and help them use government to protect their position in markets. That is anti-capitalist. And look, you can go back to Adam Smith, the guy who coined the idea of capitalism, and he understood that the biggest risk to capitalism was not government regulation. It was always monopoly and oligopoly. If you think about the circumstances that we live under right now, the power of the biggest players in almost every market, both to squeeze labor to pay us less and to raise prices so that we have to pay more, that has been anti-capitalist on its own terms. And so it's not that you have to be a socialist to believe that the government has a role in protecting a market or guaranteeing us health care or fixing our roads and bridges or providing us good schools. It's that you have to understand what capitalism is and how it works.
I want to give you an opportunity to respond to some of the other attacks against you. This is an ad by the Republican Party. Take a look.
Abdul-Rahman Mohammed El-Sayed, the most radical Senate candidate in America.
Pretty dangerous.
El-Sayed pledged support for the leader of the Muslim Brotherhood, a designated foreign terrorist group.
Radical,
Jesus.
Dangerous. How do you respond?
Muslim. Why didn't you say that too?
We always knew they were going to go here. I mean, notice how they chose to
It's the same attacks against Zohran Mamdani in New York. How's he doing? Right? How's Zohran Mamdani doing? Okay, two different people. However, same attacks. Doesn't work. It doesn't work anymore. That's like, that would have worked in like 2004. Same with that lazy ass run, hide, fight, garbage infidels with Ben Shapiro. When I looked deeper into that run, hide, fight, and it's all Israelis behind making it.
Is my full name in echoes to exactly what they did against President Obama. At the end of the day, it's not radical to believe that people should be able to afford their groceries. It's not radical to believe that you should have health care in this country. It's not radical to believe that you don't think the president should be able to deny elections or make $2.2 billion off of his role in office. It's not radical to believe that all of us should be able to breathe clean air and drink clean water. Those are the things that I've been fighting for. I believe in an America where all of us can come together to build together, government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Now, they're going to try and paint me as a certain thing given my name, but I also think it's important for us to recognize that America has a long history of embracing. America is a lot bigger than very small people like Donald Trump or J.D. Vance or Mike Rogers want to make it out to be. And so I'm grateful for all that America has given me, and I'm grateful for the opportunity now to put myself out there and ask my fellow Michiganders for their stake in our democracy to be able to build an America that's more just, that's more equitable, that's more sustainable, that's more empowering, that's more American than the vision that Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, and Mike Rogers have for it.
You know, you face scrutiny.
He's doing well. Obviously, this is an establishment platform. We watched the Michigan primary on NBC, and it was like good at first, but then clearly when it was like he was in the lead the whole time, the entire broadcast became about how can Haley Stevens win still? What's Haley Stevens' path the whole time? They said his name maybe a handful of times for 6 hours because it was a 6-hour broadcast. So for 6 straight hours, it maybe said Abdul Al-Sayed's name like 5 times, maybe. And then the whole time was, what's Haley Stevens if she just wins this place and can muster up a few thousand votes here, and wow, we're really cooking with the theories here of how Haley Stevens could overcome this for 6 hours. So obviously, you know, this is going to be a mainstream attack of like, well, what does your biggest critic say about this? So he's going to have to deal with this, right? You're going to have to go through the gauntlet, and I feel like he's handling this gauntlet here pretty well. Let alone going on right-wing slop media. Like, that shit's going to be even easier for him than this.
And the vision that Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, and Mike Rogers have for it.
You know, you face scrutiny for campaigning with socialist streamer Hassan Piker, who has made a series of inflammatory comments as you.
So when my chatters are like, Hassan is not relevant to the talking point, his name is brought up every day at this point. Hassan Piker's name is brought up every single day on all mainstream platforms, and he's all anyone's talking about. On the internet, at least.
You well know, including saying America deserved 9/11, describing Hamas as a lesser evil than Israel. Do you plan to continue to campaign with Hassan Piker in the general election campaign?
Look, I'm less concerned now with who I'm campaigning with, a lot more concerned about who I'm campaigning to. We got a lot of work to do to continue to build the coalition that's going to be Mike Rogers.
Would you welcome him, though? On the campaign trail with
like
you?
I said, I'm a lot more focused on who I'm campaigning to. So I think we have this notion sometimes on shows like this that we cannot or should not talk to certain groups of people. And I'll tell you that the 3 million people who listen to Hassan are people I want to make sure understand that there's a pathway into our politics around getting money out of politics so we can keep money back in pockets and pass Medicare for all. And so I'm going to continue to have the conversations with those folks who we desperately need to reach out to, just like I'm going to continue to have conversations with seniors in senior homes, folks up north, folks in Detroit, folks in Grand Rapids.
It's crazy how at Meet the Press, like those attacks on Hassan have been used by the right wing forever. I think he's already came out and apologized for the 9/11 comment, right? And then he laid further context into what he meant by that, but you know, people don't care about further context about that. But you know, in contrast to like what Hassan does with his Twitch stream, which I only will see clips, I don't watch Hassan's stream, but what he advocates for is politics like we're getting out of Abdul Al-Sayed or like Zoran Mamdani or more anti-establishment types. Like, yeah, he's gonna say some. He's on the internet, for crying out loud. If you gotta say outlandish shit all the time, like people like I say march the fucking MAGA to the asylums. That's what I say. Is it pretty extreme? You can clip that. I don't give a fuck, because the idea that anything Hassan says is even remotely comparable to what we're getting out of Donald Trump and MAGA and the Republican Party at this point on any level of, like, you need to be in a delusion to think that Hassan Piker is equal at all of a threat as like MAGA is in terms of whatever. Because Hassan's a Twitch streamer, and he does Twitch stream, and he shows up and he does political canvassing for politicians. Meanwhile, you got Donald Trump, who's part of the Epstein files. The elites are trafficking young men and women through islands. You got another war in Iran. You got more war in the Middle East. Americans can't afford. Gas prices are insane. Cost of living is through the roof. I mean, I'm damn near paying $2,000 a month for my apartment, in which 2 years ago it was like $1,500. And I don't know what new shit we got here for me to pay $500 more over 2 years from the same place. Affordability is terrible. So the actual problems and then also just like the general, I mean, you got the crypto scams that are taking place at the highest level, scamming people. You got Trump RX, the Trump phone, and like the idea that people that are to the left of establishment politicians are like an equal threat to MAGA is laughable. Laughable. Like, and again, MAGA, I guess, wouldn't necessarily be a big threat now. It's more so what comes after MAGA, especially with what MAGA's been able to accomplish with power. It's been pretty bad. And they've done some pretty terrible things with power over the past year. They've pretty awful things. But what comes next is worse. What comes after MAGA is worse. And that's like the target. Okay, that's the actual problem. So when you're trying to equate a Twitch streamer and like having he's the biggest political influential, and I've had my disagreements with Hassan's, with what he said when it comes to Ukraine, but I believe he's changed his position on that. I don't know. I'd have to ask him. I'd have to ask him. But he at first believed that Ukraine wasn't going to be invaded and shit. And he was wrong, obviously. And when it came to the ICE protests at first in 2025, seemed a little performative. But as time has gone on, now he's shown up when other people don't. And he continued. And like he did things that weren't performative. And like I saw him just kind of exist without a camera. And he's a pretty serious person. You might not come across that way through the internet, whatever. But when we're out there at -40 and he's out there and he's just kind of standing with people, talking to them off camera. I mean, he's the biggest political influencer streamer there is, and he's showing up. That's what people see. They see that he's showing up. He's showing up and he's speaking to issues that more people care about than upholding a status quo. And that's why Hassan is having success with what he's doing. Or whatever he's trying to accomplish. Like I don't know if he wants to be a politician someday or whatever. I don't watch it. I truly don't watch his stream. I see his clips and he follows me on X, and he boosted my work during Metro Surge, and I appreciate that. And beyond that, I know he does political influencing content. But the idea that, I mean, it's one thing to litigate it, but to bring it up on mainstream news channels, and then if it's going to be the same thing, you're going to get more people. If the idea is to try to get less people to watch Hassan, this certainly isn't going to work, because you're going to have more people watch this Beat the Press that clearly see this was a pro-Israel attempted litigation of Abdul al-Sayed, and then they keep watching, and then they're like, oh, who's Hassan? Why is she asking who Hassan Piker is? Who is that? And then they go and look him up, and then they go start watching his Twitch stream, and now they're watching Hassan. So if the idea is to get less people to watch him by talking about him all day long, is not going to be it. I've had to learn that when it comes to MAGA. I would say I'm not saying Hassan is that, whatever, but to establishment liberals, he is. He's like their biggest enemy right now. It's crazy. It's like Hassan has more enemies in the liberal establishment than MAGA when it comes to like attacking him, and they will attack him, but like it seems like he's just under attack by the establishment just all the time. Just like nonstop. But if the idea, again, if you're like trying to get less attention for him by talking about him every day and like making these wins about Hassan, and then if anything, you're giving him a reason to be like, yeah, we did that. Me and the Hassan community did that, or whatever. I don't know what he calls his chat. We did it. We got him elected, because you're making it that way. Whatever. It is what it is. Again, I think it's all done. Again, at the end of the day, chat, I think it's all done. We're just kind of existing on the ashes that used to be America. Like we're just an autopilot. But I'm willing to be proven wrong. But I think America's been done. And again, we're just on autopilot. Institutions keep taking our money. We have to pay taxes and we have to work to afford things. But the idea of our country and like the positive that it could have been is like, it's done. And we're just kind of going to see how this all lands. Apparently, I feel like we're just seeing how this all lands. I don't have, but like people like Hassan that are trying to push, political goals, and he has, he has objectives he wants to accomplish with American politics still. I mean, by all power to him. He's trying to fight against MAGA, which is what it seems to be. Because that's the actual problem. Like, MAGA is the establishment's wet dream envisioned. Like, the establishment, what they actually want. And like they'll go further than what they expect in terms of like launching the war against Iran, because the establishment has been good about holding that back. Like, yeah, we'll keep giving money and weapons to Israel, and we'll keep that going, and keep the proxy war going, and keep all that. But we're not going to bomb Iran, because that will actually, like, that would be a big problem. We can't do that. So, like, all presidents and administrations throughout American history have not done it, and they got Trump to do it. So we're in another era now. So because of what Trump did, and because of this presidency, we are in a new era that is going to keep ushering in politicians like Zohran Mamdani, like Abdul al-Sayed, like anti-establishment candidates, and that's just gonna continue. That's just the path that we are on.
On the campaign trail with
like
you?
I said, I'm a lot more focused on who I'm campaigning to. So I think we have this notion sometimes on shows like this that we cannot or should not talk to certain groups of people. And I'll tell you that the 3 million people who listen to Hassan are people I want to make sure understand that there's a pathway into our politics around getting money out of politics so we can keep money back in pockets and pass Medicare for all. And so I'm going to continue to have the conversations with those folks who we desperately need to reach out to, just like I'm going to continue to have conversations with seniors in senior homes, folks up north, folks in Detroit, folks in Grand Rapids. So again, I'm a lot more focused on who I'm campaigning to rather than who I might campaign with.
When asked about Hassan Piker's comments on 9/11, Senator Bernie Sanders called it a dumb statement. Do you agree? Do you
What year did he
disavow?
make those statements? Who cares? This is what the right wing cares about. Who fucking cares? He made that not. When did he make those 9/11? I swear, dude, I've heard this 9/11 shit for years now. Hassan 9/11. What year did he make that? Was it like back in 2020 he said that? Why is this? Why do we? I don't care. In 2019, I care even less. I care even less. I don't care. Before anything before 2020 to me, it was the pastime. That's the olden days. I don't care. I care less. I care less now. I didn't care before, but now that he said that in 2019, and you're making Abdul al-Sayed answer for what Hassan said on his Twitch stream in 2019. What are we doing? What are we doing? I care even less.
How those comments that America deserved 9/11?
Of course it was a dumb statement. And of course, I think Hassan himself would say that was a dumb statement. He disavowed it. So yes, America didn't deserve 9/11. But, you know, to sit here and play gotcha politics with a dumb thing somebody said out of context that they disavowed themselves to say, oh, well, what does that mean about what you think? I want to be held accountable for what I say and what I do, rather than this idea that we've...
that you had to be accountable for a Twitch stream in 2019. I agree. 100%. 100%. Insane.
Oh, well, what does that mean about what you think? I want to be held accountable for what I say and what I do, rather than this idea that we're so stuck in cancel culture that all of us agreed was a bad idea back in 2020, but we seem to want to bring back.
We are.
Oh, got her. Nice. Yeah, cancel culture bad, but when we got anti-establishment candidates running, we got to bring cancel culture back again. Yeah, cancel culture's back.
A time, but I have
woke one
to ask you before I let you go. If you
in woke 2, you don't get canceled now. You just get shit on, and that's it.
You win, you will be the very first Muslim.
You lose some money, but beyond that, you'll be fine. Like, people truly don't get canceled anymore. It truly doesn't happen. Like, yeah, you'll get a whole wave of hate, get a wall of hate, and it'll happen for about a week, and then it'll go away. That's how it goes.
All of us agreed was a bad idea back in 2020, but we seem to want to bring back.
We are out of time, but I have to ask you before I let you go. If you win, you will be the very first Muslim to serve in the Senate. What would that mean to you, Dr. al-Sayed?
Honestly, I haven't really thought that much about it, but it's more about what it means to America. You know, this is a place that some people want to define as a lot smaller than it is. I've been Abdul in Michigan my whole life, and I know that people are big-hearted and open-minded. That's the America I've always seen. And once again, Michiganders get to prove just how big-hearted and open-minded we really are against the small vision that people like Donald Trump want to perpetrate on us. So it really is about proving out the America that America has always been, this place that embraces people beyond differences in faith or ethnicity to come together around the ideals that bind us here.
Dr. Abdul Al-Sayed, thank you so very much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on the establishment establishment gauntlet. He passed. Well, he did well. What the hell is this thumbnail? Really? What? Who did that ABC thumbnail? Crazy. Well, you know, Kamala Harris, and he responded, Vice President Kamala Harris understands the key role of the U.S. Senate plays in lowering prices for Michiganders and holding Trump accountable. You know, the actual correct take here is to abolish the Senate. Like, get rid of the Senate entirely. That's my end goal. That would be my end goal here. To achieve a Senate majority in 2026, we need to win Michigan, and that means beating Mike Rogers. Trump and his allies prey on our divisions, which is why it's so important to bring communities together right now. Your support in this race is critical to building an unstoppable coalition against Rogers, Trump, and their assault on our rights and democracy. Just like I stood with her in her effort to defeat Trump, I'm so humble and grateful for her support in this race to defeat his minion, Mike Rogers. No, that's what I was saying. So, like, obviously, I would disagree with Tally here, and you don't litigate that now. You take the win, and then you litigate it later by forcing Kamala Harris under the radar. You don't keep him under the, like, why is he under any microscope at all for this? The microscope goes back to Kamala because she's chosen to endorse Abdul Al-Sayed's politics. Okay, you endorse him, so then you got to agree with this, and this, right? Right? You put the spotlight back on her. You got to stop eventually. Candidates say free Palestine, then support the system and war criminals. And then where is this him? He didn't ask for this. It's an endorsement from Kamala Harris. To not take it would be so stupid. To try to push against this is for what, dude? Holocaust Harris, Genocide Joe. Like, we get it. You gotta play the game. Especially to get politicians like Dr. Abdul Al-Sayed in there. Crazy. Well, they also interviewed AOC on ABC, which I want to get to. There's Royce White looking like ready to fight hard for the Democratic establishment. As he's become a woman now, apparently, according to him. Okay, we got to watch the whole... All right, let's watch the whole interview with AOC because she gets into it too because she's going to be discussing her political future. And when we have establishment versus anti-establishment taking place within the Democratic Party, AOC is going to have to land. Going to have to land.
Ocasio-Cortez joins me now. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Well, it's been a huge week. What does Abdel El-Sayed's victory in Michigan say about the future of the Democratic Party?
I think that we are in a time of renewal for the Democratic Party, and it's tremendously exciting for all of us, for the big tent of the Democratic Party. We have really an ascendance of a young, inspiring, exciting electorate, energizing wave of candidates that I think really inject a new energy to the Democratic Party and add to the toolbox of candidates that we have to win the midterm elections, hopefully in November.
And as you'd seen progressives winning in a lot of these other primaries, it was often dismissed. People saying, oh, this is in very blue parts of the country, in big cities. But this is Michigan. I mean, this is battleground Michigan. And he won. Now he has the biggest test. Can he win in November? What does he have to do to win over those Democrats who opposed him?
Well, you know, I think that this really is a moment, not just in Michigan, but across the country, where the party is unifying. The party is unifying, and it is focused on the November elections. We understand that our priority...
Very simple. You have a lot of people that have been duped for 10 straight years about the right wing being the anti-establishment party. So you got a lot of people in rural areas and people that aren't in cities and flyover states that are now confused because Donald Trump said he was the anti-establishment candidate, and he's obviously not. So the opportunity now for anti-establishment leftists that are going to be running in the Democratic Party, those are areas you need to cook in. I promise you, like out of the cities, like yes, the cities will be down for you anyways, but start campaigning more in rural areas or more red areas and you'll do well. You will, especially MAGA that or they'll like be whatever. But when you start showing them actual anti-establishment politics, and show them the light of it, then they'll start understanding like, oh, and then plus when it's a system of both parties and you got politicians that are going to go in there and at least fight against it. Those are the areas where you actually can do well in, not try to convince people that are establishment to come over like they will based on the message, especially when the Democratic Party will say they're anti-establishment, will say they're the resistance opposition party, but frequently they aren't. Frequently they are the establishment.
Is the working class of this country. And we have to make the case that we're here to make people's lives better. And the Republican Party right now is jacking up prices, making housing impossible to afford. And we are focused on everything from healthcare to your grocery bill and making it more affordable for working people.
You know, this week there was also a prominent Republican, I mean, a very prominent Republican, who said some things about wealthy corporations profiting, effectively fleecing Americans. It sounded a lot like what I've heard you said. I want to play this and see your reaction.
Sure. They're making too much money, okay? Based on a shortage, they're making too much money. I don't like it. When you look at one company where they made 12 times what they made the year before, they're going to give some of that back to the public, and they better cut the retail price, the consumer price.
Well, that was Donald Trump, obviously, talking about oil and gas companies and high gas prices. What did you make of that?
I think that
they're high gas because of your war. Oh, see how this goes. Yeah, they're gonna. Oh boy.
Everyday people, everyday Americans, we can see the very large gap between what Donald Trump says and what Donald Trump does. And so Donald Trump may be saying that oil companies are making too much money, but what Donald Trump is doing is starting a reckless war in Iran, having closed-door meetings with oil companies before his election saying, you know, you give me money, you give me campaign contributions, and I will do whatever you want. And so what we have seen, everything from Supreme Court rulings to Donald Trump's own policy, is what he is doing is jacking up the price, not just at the pump, but at everything that you buy that requires the transportation of goods. And so he can say whatever he'd like from the Oval Office, but I think people are more looking at what he chooses to do.
But that's a reflection of what he is seeing the people care about, what the people are thinking.
Because he's just going to say what people want to hear. That's it. Because like, how are you about to say they need, what is Trump, Robin Hood? Socialist Robin Hood now? And what is that even, like, you're going to take the money from the oil companies and give it back to the public? Which again, they're raising their prices because of your war in Iran. I don't know. I don't know. The oligarchs are going to move eventually on all this, probably.
And, you know, to the president's credit, he comes from television, and he's very responsive to public sentiment. And so he knows what he needs to say. But again, none of that is going to lower the cost of your rent or your mortgage. None of that is going to lower the interest rates that you're paying. None of that is going to make your grocery bill more affordable. And what we want to know and what we want to see is action.
But I want to go back in time just briefly to 2018 when you won. And you absolutely shocked the political world. We saw the pictures of you that night. You were obviously shocked that you had won. You probably don't recall this, but I interviewed you hours later, the next morning, and let's just play just a little bit of that.
Sure.
Judging from the reaction that we all saw of you on television, it seemed to surprise you as well.
It did. You know, I wasn't even checking the election results at all. I wasn't even following the precincts coming in. We had driven straight to our little party at a little billiard spot in the Bronx, and we hopped in, and I just kind of walked into a TV set, and I looked at the screen, and I saw not only the numbers, but what those numbers were, and it was a complete shock.
So, I mean, you sound there a lot like you sound today, but you've changed as well, right? How have you changed since you came in as this insurgent rebel at odds with the Democratic leadership? How have you changed?
You know, I think life has a way of really weathering you and adding to your context and your experience. It humbles you, but it also emboldens you in a lot of ways. And I think it has been the greatest privilege of my life to be able to represent the working people of my congressional district. And I think some of the ways that it's changed me has been to be able to come in with so many aspirations for our country, and then to have the remarkable opportunity to be in the arena and try to make the country a better place, challenges and all. And I love that it's hard. I love that I have to, and I get to engage with people from all across the country, elected officials from all across the country, to try to actually fulfill our dreams to guarantee health care to every American.
And you continue to push for change in the Democratic Party, but you're also one of the most prominent figures in that party right now. Your endorsement is incredibly valuable. I've noticed that this time around, this election cycle, you have not endorsed candidates that were challenging Democratic incumbents in the House.
Interesting.
And somebody took note of this. A fellow progressive wrote recently, the headline in The Hill was, "Today's cautious AOC would not have endorsed the AOC of 2018." Because you were obviously running against an incumbent. I mean, that's probably correct, right? What's your thinking there?
You know, I wasn't endorsed by anybody when I was running.
Your friends.
Yeah, just some friends. So yeah. I wasn't endorsed by I don't think I was endorsed by a single elected official when I was running for office. And, you know, I think she's talking slower because she's kind of, in a way, putting the spotlight on her, because she's been not really on the wave completely. That's what I'm saying. She's got to land eventually. She's kind of playing this tiptoe of like progressive, but establishment, progressive, She's playing a game. And she has been, right? I like AOC. I don't have a problem with her in general, but she is playing this establishment, not establishment game, especially when she ran as non-establishment in general in 2018. I don't think I was endorsed by a single elected official when I was running for office. And, you know, I think when I see so many of these incredible insurgent candidates that are running today, that's part of what makes me so proud of them, is that they do not answer to any master. They are not beholden to any corporate interest or any party boss. And they are completely independent, which allows them to be responsive to their communities and the people that elected them. And I think that in many ways that makes our movement stronger, when you have to rely on your own organizing skills. And I think that it has proven to be quite successful. And I mean, I see so many of these candidates, and they remind me of moment.
I mean, but like in New York, you had the candidates that were endorsed by Mayor Mamdani, two of whom were challenging sitting members of Congress, powerful members of Congress, Democrats, and you decided to sit that one out. Is that part of wanting to work with your colleagues that are in the House? I mean, what's the...
Yeah, I think we're all in different, politics is also a workplace, and we're all in different positions to that. I endorsed, for example, in New York, on the state level, I endorsed a slate of challengers to incumbents in the Assembly and in the Senate, and I don't work in state government, which gives me a greater freedom to be able to do that and to assess it. And I'm very grateful, that we now have a progressive movement that is in large enough numbers that, it used to be that you could fit 5 people in a closet, and that was the caucus. And now we've grown into quite a successful movement.
So you have Wisconsin coming up next. Francesca Hong, who is the Democratic Socialists of America supported candidate for governor. You haven't endorsed her. Are you going to?
No, I haven't endorsed in that race. My focus has been in winning back the Congress, winning back the House, and positioning ourselves to have the best chance possible to win the Senate. So I've been focused on those legislative races.
What do you make of those contracts?
It's going to hurt her. It's going to hurt her by not being on the wave. It's going to hurt her in the long run because like last year she was on tour with Bernie Sanders, right? And like had record viewers and everything. And like now that's energy. Like Bernie's clearly been trying to pass it to where he endorses. And I don't know, AOC ain't really playing that. Maybe because she feels like she hasn't had her turn really. Could be it. Like, well, I was the first wave of it, and I'm trying to get more power or something. I don't know, but she's gonna have to decide eventually. I think, like, you don't have to obviously endorse every single. Like, I guess the criticism would be, well, she doesn't have to endorse every single anti-establishment candidate. Like, she does not require to. Whatever. But like, when you have that energy that she's talking about, and she can lay it out about the grassroots efforts that go into it, and how exciting it is to be like, no one endorses you except for just your friends, and you still win. Like, but it seems like she's kind of playing like she's on like the seesaw. So I don't know. That'll be interesting to see. But again, I wouldn't disregard the. Well, she wouldn't disregard the, well, she doesn't have to endorse every single candidate across the country, which also is true. But I guess then it would be, well, I guess we'll see how she's going to be in the near future with whatever she's going to run for, or how she's going to be moving, right? You got to see how she moves. If she's going to be still, like, she might not endorse Francesca Hong in Wisconsin, but is she still endorsing more anti-establishment candidates, or like, working with their campaigns, or is she going to start settling into like an establishment mode? And I feel like that is what needs to be seen. But yeah, I wouldn't totally disregard people that are like, yeah, well, she's not required to endorse everybody. So you're not totally wrong.
Controversial statements I'm sure you've seen. I mean, she's the Thanksgiving dust up. She says she doesn't, still believe that.
Hey,
but,
thank you, Jada Jack. Welcome to the channel.
Abolish prisons, abolish police, which is also positions that have been taken by a lot of the progressive candidates who have won. How do you get around that? I mean, those are not positions that are supported by most of America.
I mean, I think that a lot of these races, even right now, they'll have a tendency to be nationalized. Yeah. But these races ultimately are local, and all politics are local. My understanding is that Francesca Hong has made clear her present stances to her electorate.
Yeah, she's moved away from a lot of that.
Right, she's moved away from it. And I have a local city councilman that has this saying, woke one was crazy.
Woke one was crazy. Okay, that's
and I think that what's important is that we have to assess what
was it. I mean, did the movement go too far with some of those positions? I mean, you briefly supported the idea of defunding the police.
Well, I think that during this time, and especially during COVID, there was a huge opening of the Overton window. We were shut down. There was some of the highest unemployment rates that we have seen because of those shutdowns. Yeah. And I think that the doors were really open in trying to entertain any and every policy that was going to get us to a better place. And I actually think that the discussions that were had in that time were quite fruitful. I think that when
a lot of what came out of Woke One ended up being right, though, right? That's what's so fucky about it, is it sucked, but like it wasn't wrong though, and like we're feeling that. And like if anything, now you got the right wing using all Woke One tactics in everything, and doing cancel culture and everything, all of it. They're unloading all of their own narratives and doing woke. Like when Charlie Kirk was murdered, they were canceling anybody that made a meme, calling their work and everything, literally doing Woke One shit. So yeah, I guess people calling jobs on people, probably too far. That was definitely some shit on Woke One that was happening. But like it's still happening. Like it's still happening. Like all that shit that was bad and toxic got worse. It's not like it ended. It just developed into even worse toxic things. But it's not like all of the I guess like it prevented people from exploring topics, I guess, because instead of like, I guess a good criticism of like why Woke One was tough was, you know, even if you would try to approach a topic, if you genuinely didn't understand it, you were met with some pretty brute force from like people that were already about the issue. You know what I mean? Or, like people that were like, you know, like all in and like they know whatever issue it was, whatever issue. And then someone that was like not really all up and they weren't up on the lore, and like they would try to talk about it and like they were just shit on. Whereas nowadays I'm not seeing that as much, which is good. That's a good net positive. That's different from like 2016 to like 2026. But like the right wing has completely adopted all of that. Everything about the Woke One, the whole thing about that, the right wing now and the MAGA use that. And like that's how they operate over there. So if you are MAGA and you're right wing and you feel and you're watching me because you can't watch anyone else because you're scared and everyone is acting like a cult, yeah, that's bad. That's bad stuff. You should be able to criticize Trump without your whole family saying you're a communist. Okay, you can do that.
We talk about crime today. It's fundamentally different than the way that we talked about crime in bringing crime down, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that we all share in the goals of having as low a crime rate as possible. I think that, you know, during lockdown, of course, rhetoric in that time is not rhetoric that we would use today. And I'm grateful that these candidates have the opportunity to present who they are to their electorate and what they're campaigning on in this moment.
Because you know, and obviously the Democrats
talking about what she's saying. Okay, I have ADHD brain, and I was talking about how AOC was using Woke One. I know that the term woke is historically not connected to this shit at all. I understand, but I don't need to give a history lesson of woke. You're unironically doing Woke One right now, unironically doing what I was just talking about. But yes, I understand there's a deeper context in history to the fucking word and the term and how it's used and how it's been appropriated. But do I need to, or can I just relay what AOC was saying and play with her Woke One definition, which everyone else seemed to understand? Holy fuck. Thank you for everything I just explained.
Rhetoric that we would use today. And I'm grateful that these candidates have the opportunity to present who they are to their electorate and what they're campaigning on in this moment.
Because you know, and obviously the Democratic Socialists of America are having quite a moment. Mm-hmm. But you know how Republicans are responding. Let me just give you a brief sampling.
Sure.
Let's call it what it is. It's communism. The Commie Caucus is coming to Congress.
Communism is on the back.
That's a lot of C's. Commie Caucus is coming to Congress. Can that go on a shirt? The Commie Caucus.
It's communism. The
Communism.
Commie Caucus is coming to Congress.
Communism is on the ballot this November.
We're not going to turn this country into a communist experiment.
Wow.
Well, you can kind of get a sense of the theme, and obviously the president.
Abdul Al-Sayed, I am a capitalist. No. He's a communist because I said he is. Well, do you think MAGA will start running communists now to own the libs? Yes, that is how we get communists into office. MAGA will do it, just like they're putting men and women sports to own everyone that they think. Hopefully MAGA and Trump will keep going with the let's make the oil companies pay, and like we get MAGA in there that are like gonna be, well, I'm gonna be a communist, and then they're communists, and then they're in there to reverse psychosis everybody, but like we just let it happen. And they're just like they're just a psych ward bioweapon, thinking they're owning the libs, but they're acting as communists the whole time, like they're doing. That's how we do it. Let MAGA do it. MAGA, put communists in office. Hurry up, get them in there.
Just said the same thing.
Put MAGA, put communists in office to own the libs.
But by the way, just a quick.
Gotcha. We'll get ahead of it because they're doing it. We'll get ahead of their next move. That's what they'll do.
Into a communist experiment.
Well, you can kind of get a sense of the theme, and obviously the president has said the same thing. But by the way, just a quick definitional thing. What, in your mind, is the difference between socialism and communism?
I think, to me, the fundamental differences, I mean, there's many.
Yeah.
One prevailing one is democracy. And I believe that democratic socialists are fundamentally pro-democracy. And we believe in the ballot box. We believe in respecting the outcomes of elections and governing democratically, and ensuring that the ideas and policies that are implemented are won through popular vote and popular opinion. And so I think that's why so much of what we focus on is also making sure that we are providing for the majority of Americans, guaranteeing health care, raising wages, strengthening the right to a union. And I think that that's at its core what we're about.
Are you still a member?
Okay, what about communism?
Democratic Socialists of America?
Of the New York City chapter.
Well, she like kind of explained what socialism is, kind of. Not, but no communism explanation. No one can. No one usually can. I even have gotten it wrong sometimes. Be like people like Laura Loomer. Communism is when Russia. Anyone calling Russia communism is crazy. Russia's like capitalist fascist too. They move beyond that. They just have old Soviet systems still in place of stuff. So, but it's still controlled by oligarchs, which work with Western companies too. So. There's no more communism in Russia. It just like aims for a classless society. You got property and industry, collectively owned by. It's like I'm still learning a little bit about it. Like, cause I'm not trying to push communism either. I get called a communist all the time, and like I do zero commie influence, none, because I don't even know where to begin. I truly don't. Just like when people call Abdul al-Sayed, which he's like, I am a capitalist. He's called a communist. Truly, like anybody that speaks against the establishment is branded a communist, which is what happened during the Red Scare, which is what I know about. I know about things that have happened through history. I'm not good at explaining economic systems. I've never said I can do that, but I know we've had these similar problems of people, pushing against the establishment back in the 50s. We had the Red Scare, McCarthyism, and you have right-wing MAGA openly calling for McCarthyism. That's why, like, I don't feel any bad when I'm saying put MAGA in asylums. When you got MAGA saying put anyone that's against Trump, let's do McCarthyism again, which was literally like a fucking horrible time period in this country. And then like these private prisons that are being built, that's what I'm actually afraid that these private prisons are going to be used to put anybody against anybody against the establishment or against the system, including MAGA. Because MAGA, when you're about to be done, your time in the sun's setting. And like, if you're going to hold on to that, you will by default, because the establishment will move to a different direction. And if you want to hold on to MAGA and be anti-establishment through MAGA, you will be in the same fucking prisons as everyone else that's anti the establishment of the time period when they have it, whatever it is at the time. So it's like, you know, it's a bigger problem than just, it is a bigger problem than just like Donald Trump. Okay. He is a big problem. He's a big problem in this, but it's like the system that we have in general is the issue. Okay. But I am afraid of these private prisons. That's why it's important to stand against them now while they're filling them with immigrants and working class immigrants. Places like Delaney Hall in New Jersey. You know, you got a concentration camp happening. You got people still out there. I know if I could afford to fly, I would be. But, you know, another criticism, and that's another balance that's tough to, like, because how do you highlight these issues and you can share them? But the way social media works is, and I'm just being real with you guys, like if I were to share someone else's post that's happening in Delaney Hall, I'd get maybe a fourth of the engagement than if I were to go there myself and film and document what's happening, by far. And plus, like the people I'm connected to and who would see my work there, that's why there's a balance. But I also understand the criticisms people have of like, well, you know, you can't go and show what's happening because, you know, you're getting views and stuff. And it's like, I don't know how to balance that then. I truly don't. But I understand, like, yeah, I can't afford to go back to New Jersey. I can't afford it right now. I got to save some money because I think the midterms are coming up, but things are still happening there. Right. And I don't want to just like take other people's shit as my own either. Especially when like I'm known, like my work gets most seen when I like a lot of, and like I guess that's a conversation for influencers with issues, or influencers that are trying to tackle issues, I should say. Every influencer has an issue, but no, I'm talking about influencers that are trying to like address issues in real life. How else are they going to do it without doing it? Okay, and I don't know, like maybe there is a criticism there, but for me, like, yeah, like I would like to highlight Delaney Hall still, but there's also reality where people are like, influencers that go there are just in it for themselves, and it's like, no, especially who wants to go out there and get nearly trampled by fucking horses and tear gassed and shit and like beat on by the private company there. It's like at some point, it's like we got to highlight it. We got to continue being able to highlight what's going on, or people will move on. And when you have influencers that exist, at least if they're like on their face or trying to expose the problem and they get attention for doing so, then you got to let them cook. You got to let people expose the problem. Okay. And like those private prisons at these ICE facilities, that these ICE agents are still that, and we're getting more of them. We're getting a facility in Appleton, Minnesota, you know, big ass Chungus ICE facility, big prison in Appleton, Minnesota. It's bad. Kristi Noem was just here vacationing last week. Coincidence? I don't know. She's just because they're not in a position of government right now doesn't mean they won't be, or they're still not like connected. I think Bovino's done for real. He's going to be the FBI director in the next right-wing administration. Greg Bovino will be running that. He's just temporarily kenneled right now because the right wing ain't changing. They're going harder. They're going further right. Anyways, that's a big rant about it all. But yeah, so people that there's zero communists, even in remote, it's another dog whistle. It's just back to like how people will say that there's men and women's sports and the trans. There's no communists running either. Do communists exist? Yep. Do they have power? No. Are they in the government at all? Period. No. Are any of these new wave of anti-establishment politicians that are running and winning elections communists? No. None. But it's crazy how just like the bare minimum is viewed as so extreme. It's crazy how just like people just literally Abdul Al-Sayed's platform is the easiest fucking thing. It's literally something MAGA could even get behind. It's so simple. Money out of politics, money into pocket, Medicare for all. But like, because the Medicare for all sounds scary, like I went through the other night, because the right wing spent so much money of propagandizing Medicare for all, even though every single modern established country has that. And everybody I know complains about the cost that we have to pay in insurance. And then also you still have to pay a copay, and then the amount of that healthcare costs. That's why people don't go to the doctor. They don't go when they have problems. They just tough it out, which then can create further problems. And then people live shorter lives because they don't go to the doctor because of health, and it costs money. Okay. People literally choosing like we have to choose between going broke or getting something fixed in our body. like for a lot of Americans, like a lot, and that sucks, and that shouldn't exist. So because that is a problem, there's politicians, even establishment, like Obama. Obama was pretty establishment at the time. He was viewed as not, but he was very. But even moderate Democrats support Medicare for all. So there's really nothing extreme there. It's extreme to conservatives because again of all the propaganda. But I hear MAGA, so you have establishment Democrats that are definitely for Medicare for all, and then MAGA is definitely for money out of politics and money in your pocket. They like that. They like both of those things or want both of those things. So I don't really know. And those three pillars of his message is extreme. When the establishment of the Democratic Party liked Medicare for all, and then the MAGA loves the first two, I really don't understand it. And then especially when he comes out as a capitalist on the Sunday show, like when the opportunity to make his like, this is my case, I am a capitalist. So, but they're still going to run commie propaganda against him. They're still going to run all of that stuff anyways, even though it wouldn't be true. So just be ready for all that.
New York City chapter, not the national.
No.
And what's the difference?
So every DSA chapter is formed locally.
Yeah.
And so the New York City DSA chapter, those are folks that you know. It's kind of like your local union chapter.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So, because I know there was that strange moment in 2024 when the national chapter like took away your endorsement.
Yes.
But I was looking through the DSA program, and this is the national program. I'm sure you've seen the document. It was adopted just a few months ago. But some of the positions here: defund the Department of Defense, close overseas military bases, abolish the police and prison system, grant amnesty to all immigrants in the U.S.
Three of those four are like achievable. Maybe two out of the four. Pretty quick. The overseas military bases, that one's going to be tough, especially in Europe, because Europe countries want our bases there. Military bases in the Middle East, though, you could get that done. So that's what I'm saying. You could probably get like half of that done. But our bases in Europe, though, the Europeans want them there. So that's going to be you're going to probably lose that. The abolish the police, and the prison system, that you could get halfway on that. The current prison system is a for-profit prison system, but the abolishing the police is going to be an L. It's just an L. It's already been explored. It doesn't work. There's plenty of plenty of room for abolishing like ICE. You can get that done. You can start abolishing bloat in the federal government, but I don't know about I don't think you're going to get abolishing the police in the United States as like a core done. You keep talking about what we can be done is to keep calling out the system of policing as it exists and keep getting people to understand that the entire system of policing is bad, and it is. But that's not really I don't think you're going to be able to get that one through. The amnesty to immigrants and addressing the immigrant problem in terms of the system in which immigrants have to go through courts for decades and decades, because that is the actual problem. It's the system that immigrants have to enter into. Then they're in it for decades. So, that could easily be addressed. But still not, I mean, at its core though, none of these are extreme requests. I don't think any of these platforms are extreme. Again, when it comes to the Middle East, for sure, we can close those down. You'd have to be a discussion. Like you'd have to address it with Europe because Europe likes their military bases there. And defunding the Department of Defense, I think, especially after what we've seen from this administration, you're going to get most Americans on that one. So that one's easy. That one's not even extreme. The top one, I didn't even address that one because that one is the easiest one of all of them on this one. They're asking for how many? They're asking for what now? 1 point some trillion? DOD request? Oops. DOD money news. 330. They need 67 billion. Six, seven. So you have 67 billion in requests just this time. Just this once. And then the next time it'll be more, and then more, and then more. So that one is actually not extreme whatsoever, the top one. For me, these are not. Like, this is nothing about aiming for a classless society where everyone owns everything. Like this isn't even communism. This is addressing the current problems we have. At least these are these are just 4 issues that are trying to address the problems we have of today, let alone the fabric of the system. Other than the abolish the police and the prison system, those address systems. That request tries to address like a fabric, I suppose. So, but the top 3, or the first 2 and the bottom one will be tough too if there are immigrants that are actual criminals. But as we've seen, that system is also broken because most of the ICE agents were used to target immigrants that are working class or were like literally at work. We spent hours outside of job sites this winter of immigrants just building houses, or they're literally at work, and it was like a Saturday. So that is a problem too. So these are none of these things at its core are extreme to me for their platform.
Replace the Supreme Court and executive judiciary with
some more. Replace president and Supreme Court with an executive and judiciary chosen by lower than Congress. Replace president and Supreme Court with an executive and judiciary chosen by and lower than Congress. I don't know, like, I'd have to hear what that means. I'm reading that and my brain isn't making sense of that platform there. So like have just I don't understand that one. Okay, that you can throw that one away. Abolish the Senate. Yeah, we can do that. We can abolish the Senate. We already have a House of Representatives. It's like a actual way we can get waste, fraud, and abuse. I feel like the Senate is waste. And it's just like a design so that way progress doesn't actually move forward. Okay, and plus, like, yeah, senators have way too much power. And we already have a House of Representatives. So they can go ahead and abolish that. So I'm cool with that. That's fine. Public ownership of largest corporations and essential industries. Largest corporations. So that one is addressing more of the socialist agenda on there. That would probably be the more, I guess, the more extreme take, I guess, on this. So on this list, I don't know what the top one means. The bottom one, that one's gonna be, here you go. That's probably the one. Yep, I don't even know how to break that down, so I'm not gonna try to. But that would probably be the top, I guess, extreme platform. I mean, I think the easier one to address right now before trying to reappropriate the largest corporations, I guess that could be an end goal. But right now, it'd just be forcing billionaires to pay even just a basic of a tax rate that is equivalent to people that pay taxes at like the top percent pay that 6% tax rate or whatever. It should be a lot higher depending on how much money that they make. So you could, before you get to reappropriating large corporations and essential industries to the public, you got to probably start with that first, because we don't even have billionaires paying taxes. We don't even have that yet. And it's not like it's not like I'm saying there's like I'm not trying to say that there's a specific roadmap or like a battle pass and you got to hit every single thing to keep like I'm not saying that that's a thing either. But like when we don't even have the rich paying proper taxes at all, how are you going to get to that is what I'm trying to argue. Like, how do you get from not taxing the rich at all, really, not at all, to get to reappropriating corporation? Like, again, it's something that you could work towards long term, but in the short term, I don't know how that's really achievable for that one. And then I don't understand the top one either.
Chosen by lower and lower.
Like, again, ideal goals. I'm not saying that these goals are bad and like they're evil goals, but I'm trying to like, we need like we need the rich to pay money at least first, and we need to close some tax loopholes. We got a lot of things to even get to on a base level. But again, yeah, none of this is, I guess, none of this is like an evil, I should say, because there will be propaganda that labels this evil and bad, and like that's not what I'm arguing. Like most of these, again, I've agreed with now. I just don't know how you get to this point without even taxing the rich yet. And I think I think you could get a lot more people on board with taxing the rich and taxing the billionaires while also calling out the billionaire class and really cook with that while keeping it there for a bit and building that because that's when we can get taxing the rich through and getting money out of politics eventually, right? Because when they don't have incentives to do it, when the billionaires don't have incentives to put money into politics, maybe they'll stop. It's a hope. It's all hopium. It's all hopium. It's all hopium at the end of the day. But you got to try. But yeah, at its core, these pillars are not like an evil or a bad thing.
Congress,
whether it be short-term or long-term.
Abolish the Senate, public ownership of corporations and essential industries. I mean, those are some positions that you're going to be hearing a lot about this fall from Republicans.
And I think we're also going to be hearing a lot about Donald Trump's commitment to getting us into a reckless war in Iran.
Nice.
His collaboration with
right, because like this is great, and this is a great response from her, and it actually isn't a whataboutism, because the DSA platform is future thinking. Like I said, none of those things are achievable even in the short term. That like they can be, and they can be, but like probably not. We're just being realistic. But like these are things that you work towards. Like it's goals, a vision. Right? A vision of like what you want to achieve. Like, again, even having politicians at the level of Abdul al-Sayed to even, like he's going to fight, but how much is he going to really be able to impact just him by himself? You need to continue to build a culture of politicians like him. And that's going to take a while still. Okay. It's still going to take a while. It's just how it's going to work. Okay. But when it comes to MAGA and Donald Trump, and they don't have any vision. They don't have a vision for the country. They don't have policies that are going to help the American people, because Trump already ran on all of their tropes. They already burnt through every trope they've ever used, every slogan. They truly don't have anything to sell the American people to come vote for him now, because Trump already did and literally lied about every single thing. So if that's the other thing that's true, is like you can litigate the future thought, I guess, all day long, or you can explore the vision of this platform and how they want to implement it, I guess, because it's not mine. I'm not part of the DSA. It's not my positions. But you can ask them and whatever, but the idea that the amount of energy that needs to go into litigating vision and like what people want for the future versus what's happening right now and how Donald Trump is operating, like that, the amount of energy needs to go more into what Donald Trump is doing. Okay. Because none of these platforms specifically are at its core bad. They really aren't. They're scary to the establishment. They're scary to politicians, or they're scary to the elites for sure, because they get money from all this stuff. They get kickbacks. They get rewards for all of this stuff. So of course they're going to think that all these platforms are scary and push against it. So it's just going to happen. But the amount of energy that needs to be spent here needs to go into against Donald Trump's platform and the right-wing non-existent platform, and less time litigating future thought, which again is good. You can do it for sure. Have it to talk about how all this would work. I'd really like to know what this means. Replacing the president and Supreme Court with an executive, like that's something to just talk about. Cool podcast. These are good. These are cool podcast topics. Great podcast. Every single one of these is a great topic to have just a long conversation about. Really no culture war here. Just policy and how we can address these problems, because these are all problems that we have, or things that could address some problems that we have. Maybe, depending on how you argue it, depending on if you're for these things or against these things. But that's actually good stuff to talk about. Not women and men and women's sports and all this other slop. These are good things to actually discuss and like explore. But to the idea that these are issues that you need to that these are issues to litigate in the general elections coming up it would be silly when Donald Trump is the president and the right wing and the Republican Party all operate within a cult. They all operate, Donald Trump is the messenger, Donald Trump is the king, and they all just do what he says. There is no policy. There is nothing else. And it's been like that now since Trump has been in office again. It was like that before, but I mean, now he's been in office for a year and a half or like a little over a year and a half. And they're all just sheep to Donald Trump. So it's good I'm seeing AOC really push back on this. Like, hey, like I don't like that's DSA positions basically, and those are good things to talk about. Good podcast topics for sure. Good lengthy discussions of people that are read up on this stuff and they know a lot about it. Great, good healthy topics for sure to talk about. But nothing that I'm worried about. I'm worried about Donald Trump's war in Iran. I'm worried about the pedophile elites that are still not held accountable. I'm worried about affordability. I'm worried about gas prices. I'm worried about the immigrant community that's been under attack by federal, masked thugs throughout our cities. Like it's easy right now. It's really not that difficult to the real problems. Real issues are happening. That's how this is working right now.
You're going to be hearing a lot about this fall from Republicans.
And I think we're also going to be hearing a lot about Donald Trump's commitment to getting us into a reckless war in Iran, his collaboration with big companies to make sure that everything from groceries to rent stay sky high. And I think that people are less interested in these academic debates, and they're more interested in how we're going to bring their bills down and make sure that they can afford to see a doctor. But
do you see, are those positions you support?
No, but I think that this is a free country. Everyone can have all sorts of beliefs and they can organize around them, and you're free to do what you like and, have conversations with your neighbors. But my job as an elected official is to guarantee healthcare in America. And that's what I'm focused on, and that's what I seek to do.
And what do you say to the moderate Democrats who say, first of all, that they are capitalists and that those positions are going to doom the Democratic Party because, again, they're not positions that are supported?
Yeah, I mean, of course, they're free to have their economic identity as they like. And
centrist Dems join Republicans. End. Yep. That's it. End of message. Oh, where is it? Hold on. There you go. You can cross this out. This is just how our government works. Right there. Thing happens. Or Democrats take power. What do they do? There you go. Cross all that part off. And now it'll be true. There you go. Centrist Dems join Republicans. More news at 3.
In terms of dooming the party, the idea that there's a diversity of thought in America among everyday voting people is a fundamental fact of our country. I don't think that we should be worried about what somebody somewhere believes. I think we should be focused on what our plan to improve people's lives are.
Another person who's been made an issue is Hassan Piker, who obviously endorsed Abdul al-Sayed.
Hassan.
Michigan. You've been on his live stream, you know.
My chat was saying, Hassan is not a big deal. He's like, he is. You either figure it out or don't.
At least a few times. He's somebody who said, you know, that America deserved 9/11. Now he backed off from that.
Yes, yes, he's a
damn. Talk about unified message. So you got NBC hitting Abdul al-Sayed with it, and then you got they're hitting him with the AOC, who was the first generation of these new politicians, the OG. Crazy. Are they gonna ask her about Israel too?
He said a lot of controversial things. Is he somebody?
He said 9/11
should have a role in the progressive movement going forward.
You know, I think when we look at our elections that have happened, we have lost young people. Much hay was made about the fact that we lost young men in the last election.
Exactly.
And many of the same consultants that are wringing their hands today were the same ones talking about how we need to go on Joe Rogan and we need to be not so, you know, willing to engage in cancel culture. And I think that the flip-flopping on this is a tactical debate that they may be having. I think the fact of the matter is that Democrats can go on Joe Rogan, Democrats can go on Fox News, Democrats have a responsibility to build a winning.
John Fetterman goes on Fox News every single day to go and say how much he loves Israel, and we're just going to keep bombing Palestinians until they no longer exist. But yes, Hassan Piker did something.
Coalition
in 2019.
And young people are engaging in mediums and conversations that we have a responsibility to attend to and be responsive to. And even right now, when we look at this insurgent wave of what is happening, oftentimes when people are doing that Monday morning quarterbacking and what demographics vote.
That's crazy, William, because Donald Trump said the border has been absolutely closed and we've had 0 immigrants come in for a year and a half. Why are the prices not down? That's crazy, William. That's crazy. So Donald Trump closed the border. He's got the Marines down there. They're flying fucking they're flying Ospreys on the border. Having drone warfare down there. Just holding positions. No immigrants are coming through, apparently, according to Trump. 0. So why are the prices not down? Why are we not seeing prices go down if immigrants crossing the southern border is what affects wages and affordability in this country? Or is it because of Biden? And we're still under Biden. We're still Biden. That's what Trump will say. So that's what he's going to say. Because you don't have any original thoughts. You're going to say we're still in the Biden economy and we're still basically trying to recover from Biden or whatever. And you're full of shit. All right. Just want to let you know.
Where the big one that's being ignored is the generational tidal wave. Tsunami.
I mean, you see it in the polling. It is significant.
Millennials are not, you know, punk kids anymore.
Yeah.
We're grown adults with.
Yeah, we're adults now. We do adult stuff. Hey guys, you guys can check out my gaming stream tonight. We're going to be playing Spider-Man. We're playing Spider-Man Miles Morales. Okay? And we're going to do it like adults. Okay? We're playing Miles Morales. All right? That's what we're doing. I want to hear it. That's what we're doing on Sunday night.
Mortgages and kids.
Yeah, we got all that adult stuff. All that stuff. That's what millennials have now.
Yeah.
We're grown adults with mortgages and kids, and that generation
we're adults now.
To be decisive at the polls.
Exactly.
And there is anger at being ignored, sidelined, having our economic futures mortgaged by
it's millennials' turn now. It's our turn, right?
Generations that came before us.
We're the adults.
The
we're the adults now.
Climate, and we're taking the reins.
So we're almost out of time to get to your future. I'm sure you saw the poll in New Hampshire.
Did Gen Z even get a chance? The boomers are holding on so long now. We got to millennials got it.
that had you as the
Poor Gen Z.
leading choice for Democrats. First of all,
Gen X. It's like that meme in the swimming pool. Then it's just like Gen X, just like at the bottom of the swimming pool.
Are you going to run for president?
It's like just like never gotten a chance, just like skipped over.
I mean, I'm focused on winning the midterms. I'm running for Congress right now.
But I mean, do you see this as something? I mean, I know you've said you're open to it. Is it a realistic possibility for you?
I haven't ruled out the possibility, and I'm very humbled to the tremendous amount of support out there. I think that we have a responsibility to remain focused on the midterms and not on our individual aspirations or plans.
And running for Senate against Chuck Schumer, is that also something that's possible?
I mean, I think that anything is possible at this juncture.
Please. Oh, thank God. So she didn't rule out running against Chuck Schumer. I will take AOC over Chuck Schumer. Yep. Look at maybe AOC's playing a tactical game, and she's got to kind of like play this. She maybe I kind of understand her seesaw right now. You got to move differently. It sucks. This I got to move in the stupid government that we have. That's why it sucks. But she's moving, and this movement could allow her to take over as or at least just take she wouldn't take over as the leadership, but she would take Chuck Schumer's seat, which would be way better. And then could also help usher in the new generation. But yeah, Chuck Schumer and that generation of Democrats need to absolutely fuck off.
All right, and then before you go, you did have a personal announcement that you made. It was interesting to see you kind of open up in, on an Instagram Live, I believe it was. So tell me what it was and why you decided to do it.
I think it's important for us to normalize these conversations, especially in this political environment. The Trump administration has...
Remind us what the announcement was.
Yeah, sure. So I have decided to start the process of freezing my eggs. Yeah. And in this political environment where this administration is denying reproductive care to women across the country, from abortion rights to the ability to carry out a healthy pregnancy, I think it's important for us as leaders to have these conversations and share these processes, especially for working women across the country, and normalize them.
Okay, all right. Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, thank you very much for being here. Let's hope to talk to you again soon.
Thank you.
And when you're ready to...
Democrat headlines. AOC announces she's beginning process of freezing eggs. Republican headlines. Or Royce White here. Republican headlines. Sophie Cunningham, 2 points, 3 points. We've announced another invasion. We're backing another abuser. I hope we want Moskowitz to lose. Jared Moskowitz is terrible. Hope he loses that. There you go. Let's go AOC. I save anything else? I think that's yeah, there you go. Yeah, Matt Walsh didn't like that. Matt Walsh gets to speak for women and what women do with their bodies. Like good for AOC, and like you said, like she said, she's doing it to normalize it for other women to go ahead and do this. Who that has no effect over the life of a man. Has no effect over me. And anyone that pretends it does, like Matt Walsh, is a clown. And there's no reality in which AOC's choice here is anything other than trying to show women that, hey, this is something you can do, and I'm doing it. Like, that's it. But that same crowd will want to say they protect women, and it's all about women, and women this and women that, but they really hate women. And anything women do. A lot of questions on the Sunday shows about Hassan Piker. Here's some extended bits of an interview he did with him.
Do you know who Hassan Piker is?
A blowhard. I think these guys failed so spectacularly.
When you say progressive left, there's a tone of contempt there. Is there?
Hope the camera.
Oh, let's watch it.
Was able to. Hope the camera.
Let's watch it through YouTube.
Was able to pick up the contempt.
I like Donnie O'Sullivan's work.
There are a lot of people who are just like this.
I've been like right next to him in the streets many times. All right, let's start from the beginning. My bad.
Do you know who Hassan Piker is?
A blowhard. I think these guys failed so.
Coming from Carville.
When you say progressive left, there's a tone of contempt there.
Calling Hassan a blowhard coming from Carville is crazy.
Hope the camera was able to pick up the contempt. There are a lot of people who are just like, this is not working. Democrats haven't done anything about it. They never win.
Have they been given a chance?
You know who's going to decide the future of the Democratic Party? Let me break the news to you. They ain't that liberal, okay? Pro-Israel politics is so poisonous in the Democratic Party. There's no place for criticism of the government of Israel.
We need a Carville Hassan chat now. We need Hassan and Carville to he's just getting old, man. And plus, like, Carville was always the black sheep. Like, what the fuck? Can't have no new black sheeps in the Democratic side? He was always the guy that was, like, criticizing the establishment of it and shit. What is going on? What is happening?
In the Democratic Party.
Will you endorse the 2028 candidate if they are pro-Israel? How are you feeling about the midterms?
I feel very good, but the only thing that can derail us is we could nominate some of the wrong candidates in the wrong place and not be as successful as I hope. But it's going to be massive. I mean, in spite of anything, we're going to win that thing.
The wrong candidates, what do you mean by that?
I see challenges from the quote, progressive left, unquote.
Oh, boy.
And these people are too hard-headed to know that they're not popular. People don't like them. And, but...
You're so wrong. That's insane to say. He's not connected. So he is an example, like, but it's just such a wild thing for him because he sold himself as a black sheep of like the Democratic Party and like, he knows what's best for the Democratic Party, which usually would be an anti-establishment position because he would call out the establishment of the Democratic Party. But this is so crazy. See, the idea that the populism around these candidates is not existent is crazy. It's how they're winning. They're big money too. They're overcoming millions and tens of millions of dollars in election money being poured into the opposition. Abdul said, what did Lindsay or Haley Stevens have 60 million, 70 million put into her campaign? Some insane number. It's as low as 30 and as high as 70 I've seen. Doesn't matter. That's a dollar too many. That's $1 too many from how much like corporate money has gone into her campaign. Which is why I like Abdul al-Sayed's message of money out of politics, because that should be illegal. And if you're on the right, if you are a conservative and you're hate watching me right now, the same fucking thing happened to Thomas Massey and the MAGA. I don't like him at all. He's been right on a couple things. That does make him a good person. That doesn't redeem him. But like his election was bought out too. So this shit is bad on all sides, I guess, right?
But if you get a skewed turnout in a primary, you might end up losing a race that you should have never lost in the first place.
When you say progressive left, there's a tone of contempt there.
Yeah, so you were very wise. Hope the camera was able to pick up the contempt.
It's high definition, yeah.
Yes. They don't win elections. They never run against Republicans. They just run against other Democrats. Their only message is...
Donnie did.
We're going to blow everything up. Okay, great. And they run for president. They never win.
They've run for president? Who? What is he talking about? He sounds just like an old man yelling at cloud. What is he talking about? Brother.
They are the...
Have they been given a chance?
Huh?
He's doing the mythical they thing that MAGA do. The mythical they that exist out there.
Let's take over. Let's think of somebody. Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders ran for president twice. You know what he did twice? He lost.
He's a senator. He's a U.S. senator. He's still holding power. Bernie Sanders, these politicians are just trying to run for the fucking Senate and the House of Representatives. And it's because I would argue that the amount of attention around Bernie in the past to where it could be now, like if it was Bernie 2016 this time, but it was younger Bernie, it was the 2016 Bernie right now, I bet you he would cook. He'd be on this wave that Abdul al-Sayed is, which is why he's attending these campaigns, which is why he's there, because he knows he's probably a little too old now. It's just true. It is true. A little too old. Doesn't mean his message doesn't resonate. Doesn't mean he can't pass it down, which he seems to be doing. Okay? Doesn't mean he still can't bring that energy, because Bernie still can bring energy more than fucking Donald Trump and anyone that's moderate can. Or that's even willing to. But why are we bringing out Bernie Sanders when you have examples like New York City is not a small, like New York City is a big deal. Zoran Mamdani, that election, like again, mayor race, but that's a big responsibility. New York City, the city of the world, right? the world city. You got so much that happens there. So many people live there. Just in that, like it's a massive responsibility. He's got world leaders coming through there. He's got he's got his he's got his goals he's trying to achieve at his level that he can do. But he won. And he's doing great. He's doing great, and he might not have all the same policies that the DSA carry, or like he might not have everything you saw on the list we just saw on the screen with AOC's interview. But he's at least delivering the basic needs, so what people are at least asking for. He's at least doing that, and then showing, and he's being more transparent. I don't know. It's wild to see people win and then see people like Carville with their arms crossed say that this is actually a loss. This is actually a net negative, and it's not. There's everything I'm seeing is not.
They run for president. They never win. They are the.
Have they been given a chance?
Huh? Let's take over. Let's think of somebody. Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders ran for president twice. You know what he did twice? He lost. By a lot.
James Carville says this is all going to implode at the general election.
Yeah, as opposed to previous neoliberal Democratic candidacies that have been spectacular successes so far. Hillary Rodham Clinton in 2016 and Kamala Harris in 2024. I think these guys have
yeah, that's wild. It's like Bernie, and plus, like, why would he even bring Bernie up when he got cucked? Like, the Democratic Party did exactly what you're seeing for Haley Stevens, for I don't even know who went against Mamdani, but like they didn't want to endorse him right away. The same energy was for Bernie too, in terms of no, Bernie's too extreme. Hillary Clinton she's gonna be our nominee. Crazy. Like, the energy wasn't there, but with the establishment for Bernie, they're breaking a lot faster, but they're still not breaking right away. Like the establishment, like eventually they'll congratulate them on their win, like a day after or a day or two. But I mean, I'd say again, if it was 2016 right now, in this time period we're in right now, given the climate, Bernie would be the nominee. He would. He'd be there. There'd be so much energy. You have so many more influencers on the ground, and you need that kind of in this day and age. You just do. You need more people that are willing to meet the moment. And back in 2016, people were not meeting the moment that needed to be required to not have Hillary be the nominee. Like, it was not a good choice at all. She was super establishment. Like, the right-wing propaganda, you want to talk about, it's crazy. Democratic Party establishment influencers will talk about electability, and we'll talk about how right-wing media will play, I guess, further left politicians on there, but like not like they do when it comes to the establishment. They concocted the right, because again, I grew up right-wing at this time, but you had an entire like pizza related conspiracy with Hillary Clinton connected to eating children and like this demonic and that's what carried through to, and like she's connected to pedophile elites. Where do you think the energy from the right wing for the Epstein files originated? Where do you think all that came from? It came from all the propaganda around 2016 and all of the narratives that were driven about Hillary and how, because of she was super giga establishment. And so all of the remnants of that carried through to obviously where we are with the Epstein files today with the pedophile elite. But that started back in 2016. That started back in 2016 with Hillary, or against Hillary, and all the shit that was concocted about her from the right-wing establishment and Fox News and Alex Jones and all of them. You name them. Hillary, lizard people, all that. And you get people that are, and when the right wing does that, you get people that are anti-establishment that would vote for like a Bernie or would vote for a blah blah blah. The right wing actually influences them and brings them over into believing Hillary's a lizard person because she's establishment, and people don't like the establishment, so they're gonna be caught up in those types of communities. So everything I've seen in just like the last few months when it comes to Abdul al-Sayed, around Zoran Mamdani and their campaigns, and the establishment liberals that are crying about how the right wing is going to use leftist candidates elect, like they're not, they will, but they're not going to do it well. They're not going to be able to do it well because also there's a populism around these candidates. You have people that are willing to actually do the groundwork to defend them. You don't have that for establishment candidates. Who the fuck wants to go out and stand for Hillary Clinton? I don't know anyone that would want to do that without being paid. Or like who wants to go, or for Kamala. Like not without some money, not without money in my pocket. Hell no, brother. I ain't going out there. I ain't going out there. Not voluntarily, not like just sacrificing my own time. Because I don't have any energy behind that politician. Like these new era politicians in the left and the Democratic Party have people that are willing to do the groundwork and go be outside for them, and that is what matters.
That have been spectacular successes so far. Hillary Rodham Clinton in 2016 and Kamala Harris in 2024. I think these guys have failed so publicly and so spectacularly that it has caused people to seek out alternatives. I don't think I'm like exceptionally good at proselytizing the gospel of socialism necessarily. I think there are a lot of people who are just like, this is not working. Cost of living crisis is completely out of control. Democrats haven't done anything about it. Republicans haven't done anything about it. There has to be a different alternative. And a lot of people are also very frustrated with the rise of Trumpism, rise of MAGA, rise of fascism in this country. They're scared. There's a lot of instability, and they see the Democratic Party as insufficient in dealing with Trumpism.
True. I've been interviewing people in all across the country, from sea to shining sea, for the past 2 years, asking them, "Hey, do you feel that this system, are we good? Is it just good enough to just vote away Trump and everything?" And they're like, "Nah, it's like a bigger problem." And that's from just Maine recently. That's in Wisconsin. That's in California. That's in Minnesota. Obviously, I spent most of you guys watched me recently. Obviously, I'm during Operation Metro Surge. In Chicago, it's the same. It's the same thing I've been hearing on the ground from people that are out there, that are doing the groundwork. So what you see on the internet, what happens in real life, can match. But when it comes to establishment influencers, they have no fucking clue. They're not out there on the ground. They're on the internet. They ain't out there on the streets. They're missing half the narrative because they're not seeing. They don't know what the people outside are saying. They only know what the internet's saying.
And They go out there in the streets, they want to demonstrate. Who do they see on the streets? People like me. They see DSA, they see PSL, they see these organizations that
it's repetition.
Never stop protesting.
It's repetition. Like I've told you guys, it's like they're just all it is being consistent. They're consistently out there. Like it's like, again, sometimes the PSL protests, I'm like, man, I don't know how effective standing on the corner is. You know, people are cold. I was like a little frustrated during this winter a couple of times, but like at the end of the day, they're consistently out there. They're consistently showing up. They're just consistent, and that's what it takes. Is just consistency. And like by little by little by little by little by little by little, you'd be like, yeah, they were out there. Oh, that group was out. They were out there standing with the people at this time, or like they were out there doing the work or whatever. And like that's how it builds, especially when you're trying to get anti-establishment politicians in there. But that doesn't mean you have to be all on board with everything. You don't have to like be okay with everything. It's fine. But like if in general, if you're trying to actually challenge the status quo of the country and like what we're living in, then like you're going to be around other people that might disagree with you or like might agree with you on a lot of things. But at least you're not MAGA. You don't want to be there. It's the dark place.
They don't stop protesting when Democrats are in charge. They don't stop protesting when Republicans are in charge. Why do they do that? Because the issues persist.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know who Hassan Piker is?
And that might annoy people on Democrats, and it was annoying me too at first because I wasn't aware of everything like I am now. I'm still not aware of everything, but like I'm more aware now than I was then. But yeah, the issues, just because Democrats win, like the issues, you need to still challenge them. It's not like, oh, Democrats won, that's it, all done. Okay, now we can have brunch again or whatever. That's not how it works. You have to continue challenging the status quo, and again, just because the Democrats will sell themselves as the opposition party and like the little dog or whatever, you know, it's like they're still in power, they're still the elite. Still gotta, they're not. It's not a religion. It's not a cult. You're not MAGA, right? So you still got to hold them accountable. You still got to make sure they're delivering on their promises.
Yes.
What do you think of him?
Blowhard.
A what?
A blowhard. Name me one Democrat in a tough election that wants Hassan Piker to come in and campaign with him. In the general election.
In the general?
Do you think that Talrico is going to invite Hassan Piker to come to Texas? I don't. You think John Ossoff is going to invite him to come? I don't.
They don't need him. Hassan wouldn't go there anyways, I don't think. I don't know. I don't think he would. I don't know. Is John Ossoff anti-Israel? John Ossoff is a pretty strong voice against MAGA, but I don't know if he's necessarily like an anti-establishment type of candidate. I don't know if he would. And plus, like, I don't know if Ossoff would they don't need extra support. Like Hassan will be helping, they'll be going and rallying behind candidates that would need the support. Like Ossoff is going to get money. Same with Talrico. They're getting money to run. They don't need they don't need a Twitch streamer to come help. It's like more of these anti-establishment candidates that like will align with the views of influencers, for example, or whatever, and get the word out there, because they're not getting the money and funding and ad revenue. Their message isn't being shown on commercials. They're not getting billboards, for example. You know what I mean? So the influencer economy that does exist can benefit these type of anti-establishment candidates. That's all it is. So yeah, and I don't think Ossoff or Talrico need Hassan anyway. So I don't know what this argument is he's trying to make.
In a general election, do you think that Talrico is going to invite Hassan Piker to come to Texas? I don't. You think John Ossoff is going to invite him to come? I don't. You think Roy Cooper? No. And I mean, he's a niche guy.
Do you think, candidates that embrace you in the primary process might want to tuck you away in the general election?
Maybe. But I think that'd be a mistake. Because the reality is, not only do I have a lot of passionate door knockers and organizers in my community, but also outside of that, I represent a position that is objectively popular. The criticisms of Israel, that is the overwhelming majority's perspective. So I think simply leaning in to attack ads and saying, oh, you're right, that this person is bad, actually. This person was wrong. It was wrong of me to identify or align with him. Abdul could have done that in the primary as well. It was very risky for him to say, no, this is ridiculous. Yeah, I have disagreements with him, but who cares? He's a Twitch streamer, you know? And I think that's an honest message. That's something that people can understand. And as long as he sticks to the issues, as long as he keeps fighting for Medicare for all and keep fighting for policies that will improve people's lives, that's what people are going to vote for. The rest of it is just noise. You look silly if you try to consistently take the conversation back to an allegiance that a politician might have with a Twitch streamer. If the other side is saying, I want to give people health care, it's not a great message.
In the primary process, of course, he has become this sort of central part of a debate, right, about the future of the Democratic Party.
Well, let me tell you, we're going to have a debate about the future of the Democratic Party. In the Democratic primaries of 2028, in Hassan Piker and the progressives, you know who's going to decide the future of the Democratic Party? Let me break the news to you. Democratic primary voters, primarily Southern black Democratic primary voters. Let me further break the news to you because I happen to have hung around Southern black people all of my life. They ain't that liberal, okay? But that's that. Now, I'm sure what someone on the left would say, well, we have.
What is the message there? So what are you saying? Because black voters in the South are more conservative, which yes, true. Very true. So you should stop advocating for anti-establishment politics and money out of Israel and healthcare. And what is that? What is that message? What is that? That's some nonsense. That is horse shit right there.
We have to have another process. No, we don't. And what Hassan Piker needs to do is run for president. If everybody agrees with you, good.
Run for president? This is what the type of shit I get hit by MAGA with in my Facebook comment section. Oh yeah, Mercado, well, you think you have it so figured out? Well, you run for president. What a take. Hassan, run for president. If you gonna do it, just do it. This is insane. Holy shit, brother. This chat is full of basement dwellers, and get a job. You sent me $20 for that. I mean, now I can reappropriate that $20 back into my community, which will then further my work. So thank you. That will get sprinkled out.
Okay.
We'll show you trickle down economics here through socialism. Anyways, yeah, this is insane. So yeah, Hassan, why don't you run for president?
Of 2028. In Hassan Piker and the progressives, you know who's going to decide the future of the Democratic Party? Let me break the news to you. Democratic primary voters, primarily Southern black Democratic primary voters. Let me further break the news to you because I happen to have hung around Southern black people all of my life. They ain't that liberal, okay? But that's that. Now, I'm sure what someone on the left would say, well, we have to have another process. No, we don't. And what Hassan Piker needs to do is run for president.
Okay, I will.
If everybody agrees with you, good. Run. Go, cat, go. I think everybody ought to run. And I think that the judgment of Democratic primary voters is what I'm going to follow. But if you claim that there's all of this energy and this activism, then, okay, have at it.
What is going
on?
on?
Run for president.
You're allowed to take part in the democratic process. You're not running for office.
Of course you are. I don't run for office. What I'd say is, why do these people call themselves Democrats? Call yourself Democratic Socialists. maybe what we need.
I mean, I think a lot of them do.
They're
right?
good, but don't call yourself Democrat. But we're on watching. There's no place, any place for criticism of the government of Israel in the Democratic Party. There's no place for anti-Semitism. But we're on watching. There's no place, any place for criticism of the government of Israel in the Democratic Party. There's no place for anti-Semitism.
There it is. Well, there it is. That's the point. That's the angst. That's why he's really so mad. Holy shit, dude. Again, oh my God. Israel has created this reality for themselves. They decided to commit genocide and it be shown to the world. And then do the absolute dog shit worst propaganda to try to dress it up, and then made even more people start questioning what Israel's doing, and then now the world is aware. And so in the United States, because of this existence, both in the Republican Party and the Democratic Party, or I shouldn't even say parties because they're establishment, I should say people that are conservative and leftist, both agree that Israel should not receive any further money because of this genocide. And because also the war, maybe even people that might not say that Palestine is a genocide, which it is, but they might just say the war in the Middle East, it continues, that we continue to fund it. We can, our gas prices, they might focus on the gas prices, all right, the ramifications of what Americans are facing, which is true. But, you know, the point too, also that's more important would be the genocide happening in Gaza, and also the assistance that we're doing in Iran by bombing children in Iran, and our military joining in with this is all sick. And like any normal person, even like left, right, center, sideways, horizontal, upside down, whatever you are, can see what Israel is doing is bad. Anyone. I haven't really talked to my brother in a long time. I don't really know what his political beliefs are. It's probably right wing, probably something right wing. But he, like, I don't talk because I don't know how to talk to my family about politics anymore because they're usually like MAGA. So I don't really I just don't now because it's so toxic. But I was like, when my brother even was like, yeah, Israel's really bad. Because usually because he's very like my brother is like, I don't know what, dude, he can like quote the Bible now. Like he's like, I don't know what type of Christian he's doing or what's going on there, but he'd be hitting me with Bible verses. Bible quotes. I'm like, damn, dude. But like, even when it comes to Israel, though, he's like aware. So he's like, yeah, Israel's committing a genocide. I was like, because usually you expect people that are going to hit you with Bible quotes for problems to support Israel, because that's heavily propagandized in Christian in narratives, and it shouldn't be, right? Especially evangelical. Like if you're Christian and you're told that Israel's the Holy Land, which is Jerusalem. But it's like Donald Trump gave Jerusalem to he put the Trump, he put the, what building he put there? Whoops. Oh, he recognized it as Israel's capital. Like totally, just absolutely, just this was during his first term. I thought they were gonna put the embassy there, right? Or he opened his embassy. This was his first term. Couldn't think of the embassy word. Thank you, Frank James. Because this is just so shit. It's all to try to get Christians and people that believe in Christianity to support the Israel project by wrapping your religion into Zionist agenda, which isn't even like the Zionist agenda and Judaism are not connected. You got the faith of Judaism and people that are Jewish, and that's completely separate from like what Benjamin Netanyahu and the government of Israel and also the U.S. project of Israel in general is, and the imperialism that we're committing through Israel, and how absolutely just fascist, disgusting leadership from Israel is. They're disgusting. It's a disgusting leadership, disgusting government. But then it's sad when you see lots of examples from the people too that don't really seem to push against what the government's doing. Like, I've seen very few examples of people that live in Israel actually pushing against, like, the government. There are some protests here and there that will take place, but nothing real major, nothing major internally. And then you see the West Bank and you got settlers that are engaging in the imperialism. They're doing what the IDF does. And then the IDF comes after they're done doing it and helps them out. Tells the settlers, oh, you did nothing wrong. It's gross. Like, what's happening, what Israel's doing to Gaza, what they're doing in South Lebanon, what they're doing in the West Bank, and then will also continuing to drag us into further war in the Middle East is disgusting. And we're paying for it, and we're massacring children and families left and right. All for Israel. Nothing else. Well, it's American interest, but it's American interest by proxy. So that is the idea that is an extreme when we're seeing the extreme, which is Israel. But for people to just say, hey, we got to stop. We got to stop funding it. No more weapons to Israel. We got to cut off all aid. It's not like people are demanding worse. They're demanding worse happen to Israel for what's happening here. But, like, that's not going to happen, obviously. So at bare minimum, at a policy in our government, we got to cut off Israel when it comes to giving them weapons to commit these crimes against humanity. So, and that should be a baseline position. Just like I'm passionate about Russia's invasion of Ukraine and what's happening to Ukrainians. It'd be one thing if, like, America was funding Russia to do this. That's what this would be. That then, like, yeah, I would be raving about Ukraine every day. I would be raving about it more because we'd be fun. Like, that's what the example of this it would be. If you're like a Ukraine supporter and you're like trying to stay out of it, you shouldn't. This would be like the United States and all of the Western countries funding Russia. And then also you'd see U.S. planes over eastern Ukraine shooting down Ukrainian drones, trying to fight back at Russia. That's what this is like. So because of the U.S. is back, obviously the U.S. is allied with Israel. So yeah, that's why this shit is sickening, and it should be a baseline position to want money out of that. And that's why we're seeing from these new generation of politicians coming out of the Democratic Party, or like they're winning their primaries at least, or they're running New York City like Zoran Mamdani, who is super based and wanted to arrest Netanyahu. That was awesome. Thank you for the $100. Every word uttered by a conservative is deception or manipulation. Keep speaking the truth. Thank you, Burn the Right. And also earlier we had Shifty Lincoln. Thank you. Ace Chrome Cheetah. Yeah, I read that one out. Okay, appreciate you guys. Well, it's tiring. This shit's tiring. And if anything, it's almost kind of like establishment Democrats have now become just what the Republican Party used to be before MAGA took it over. Because they're just basically regurgitating the same shit you'd hear from a Republican. Like a Mitt Romney Republican.
Okay, have at it. Mm-hmm. Run for president.
You're allowed to take part in the democratic process.
Of course you are. I don't run for office. What I'd say is, why do these people call themselves Democrats? Call yourself Democratic Socialists. Maybe what we need.
I mean, I think a lot of them do, right?
Good, but don't call yourself Democrat. But we're on watching. There's no place, any place for criticism of the government of Israel in the Democratic Party. There's no place for anti-Semitism. But if you want to be anti-Semitic, go form your own party.
If you want to be anti-Semitic, form your own party. Please push back on that.
The reason that most people become Democrats is the same reason that I did. I don't hate anybody. I have a big issue with the government of Israel.
Yeah.
I worked in Israel. Was part of the closest set in history we've ever come to having a deal. And I am a full supporter of the right of a Jewish state on the Eastern Mediterranean. I think the only way to have that is you have to have a corresponding Palestinian state, fully recognized. You have to have security zones. You have to have massive aid to the Palestinian.
So basically, you got to continue what's happening. Security zones.
State, and we got to have peace and not war. Now,
Gotta have peace and not war, guys. That'll fix it. I know it'll fix it. Peace and not war. Sell it. Send it. That's the policy. There you go. Especially with this government. Especially with the Israeli government. Holy yeah, they were making snuff films out of the flotilla activists. And Ben Gvir, it's like disgusting. They're disgusting.
I can't stand Netanyahu. And the big change that I've seen in Israel is they used to actually try to get people to like them. They don't do that anymore. And I detest the settlements. All right. And I would.
So then what is your gripe here? What is going on? So then why would you be against any message that Hassan has said or any of the new slate of anti-establishment politicians that are winning in the Democratic Party? What is your disagreement? What is happening?
Love to see policy changes in the government of Israel, but I am a firm believer in the state of Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Two different things.
Oh, so he's like a Zionist then? Is that what it is? It's impossible. Like Netanyahu is carrying out the Zionists' final plan. Like it's a pillar of what is going on. You are not a real person now. This is insane.
Believer in the state of Israel. Mm-hmm. Two different things.
Sure.
Never to be confused.
I was with you at the
no, they're the same thing. So what we're seeing from this current government, from the Likud party of Netanyahu within Israel, is just carrying out the Zionists' final solution for Zionism. That's what's going on right now.
DNC in 2024, where you said you didn't endorse Harris. Mm-hmm. Will you endorse the 2028 candidate if they are pro-Israel in a way that you don't like? I mean, if you ultimately are about defeating fascism in this country, as you describe it, MAGA, whatever, surely shouldn't you get on board with whoever the main candidate is?
Luckily, I don't think I'm going to have to make that calculation at all. Because, again, pro-Israel politics is so poisonous in the Democratic Party especially, that there is, and I'm telling you right now as a promise, and you'll see, 0% chance that whoever the elected Democrat is that wins the primary will be pro-Israel in any way, shape, or form. And I will do everything in my power to make sure that that doesn't happen regardless, but I don't think I'll have to push too much. And you'll see. Rahm Emanuel is a great example of this. Rahm Emanuel himself is very critical of Israel now. Very, very critical of Israel. And it's clear that he has ambitions of higher office, and he sees which way the winds are blowing. It's not going to happen. So that's not even a problem. But I do warn, just as I did in 2019 with Joe Biden, that if we don't have a bold, progressive candidate as someone who can take advantage of the momentum of the growing socialist movement in this country, seek to improve the material conditions of the working class in this country, it's going to be worse than Donald Trump next time around. Just as Donald Trump 2 was far worse than Donald Trump 1.
Oh, well, me and Hassan are in agreement there. I agree. James Carville's Democratic Party is the region where the fascists are now in power. Yes. Exactly. No, it's because there weren't enough people willing to vote for the mid-ass, boring-ass Democratic Party. That's why. I'm a 60-year-old straight white woman from the South. Carville needs to retire. There's no room in the Democratic Party to criticize the Israeli government. Carville has lost it. Oh boy, my YouTube is glitching. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh boy, criticize Israel too much. They don't want me to look any further. Too much Israel criticism in the stream. Oh boy. All right. I think that's it. It's Sunday night. I don't think I have anything else. That's all I got. So if you guys missed it earlier, I went through J.K. Rowling. There's Sophie Cunningham's. There you go. That's the MAGA movement. There they are. MAGA heroes. Well, they beat Chicago. Yeah, we had a back and forth with J.K. Rowling this morning. Yep, she quote tweeted me and tweeted at me. What am I sitting at? Oh, damn, nearly a mill views. Nearly a milli. Oh, she responded to me. So the information you think proves your point that men ought to be competing against girls that an abusive man is pretending to be women? You really want to run with that argument, champ? Are you fucking 12 years old? What are you saying here? The information you think proves your point. It does prove my point. You literally asked me, you literally asked me, how do we test for sincerity? That was your fucking question, J.K. Rowling. Why am I arguing with the Harry Potter? Fuck the J.K. Rowling. Fuck you. I hate this existence. I hate that I read your stupid books. You asked me what defines how do we test for sincerity? And then I'm like, I don't know, not very sincere when you got Royce White, who's got an abuse case that gives a 50-year order for protection. Seems pretty cut and dry, J.K. Rowling. God, she sucks. You want to run with that argument, champ? I'm going to burn every Harry Potter book I've ever had now. We're going to have a Harry Potter book burning. How old is this woman? How old is she? Probably like 30 years older than me. You're 61 years old. Why are you talking to me like a Reddit user? What is your problem? What is going on? Why is J.K. Rowling talking to me like a 15-year-old Reddit user? You're literally twice my age, J.K. Rowling. Jesus Christ. Exactly this. Shit I gotta deal with now. Now I gotta argue with authors. All right, y'all. Appreciate you. I'll respond to that. But we're gonna be playing on my gaming channel. We're gonna go over here and get away from all that. Get away from all that crap. I'm gonna adjust my stream, so we'll start at like 9:30. But we got Miles Morales. We got Spider-Man Miles Morales going tonight. So come on over, guys. Starting at again, I'll do it 9:30, so about 15 minutes from now. Okay, 15 minutes from now. Come on over, Spider-Man Miles Morales. I think I can put the link in the chat. I'm gonna put the link over here for you guys. But I'll redirect you guys to it. If you guys are on Twitch or if you're on Facebook, we'll be live again tomorrow. But I'll redirect you guys. We'll be live again tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern, probably. I don't know. I have early softball, so maybe earlier than that. We'll see. We'll see what the mood is. If there's news to cover, whatever. If not, maybe when I get home. So come and check out Spider-Man. Let me pin that. Click the link. If not, I will redirect you guys on over to it. I appreciate you. Have a good one, guys. Have a good night. Goodbye.
Blood on the wheel, blood on the sea, blood on the hands of all the ones that lie. Storm storms are coming. Best to get to running. Or stand your ground once the bullets fly. They call me Big Papa 'cause I'm ready to die. When you meet your maker, you can ask him why. They call me Big Papa 'cause I'm ready to die.
They just let them do it. They just let them fucking gas us. It didn't stop them. They didn't stop them. They didn't give a fuck. Seriously, guys?
They'll kill your mama. They'll kill your daughter. They'll kill your wife and your auntie and your sister too. Nah, they don't care none. Badges, they don't wear none. But soon enough, we'll all be shooting back at you. Really ain't a fucking thing you can do. We got way more guns, we got way more goons. If we stand our ground when the bullets fly. They call me Big Papa 'cause I'm ready to die. When you meet your maker, you can ask him why. They call me Big Papa 'cause I'm ready to die. They call me Big Papa 'cause I'm ready to die. They call me Big Papa 'cause I'm ready to die.
You better get fucking ready. You better wake up. If you think this shit's fucking just some social media shit, you ain't paying attention. 3 things are true. Number 1, the black community told us this shit for years. We didn't listen. Number 2, ICE is a white supremacist wet dream. And number 3, the government's not going to save you.